here for Moment of Change, the class Group 1 sprinter in this Group 2 Classic. It is the feature of the night. In fact, it's the feature of the weekend. The Group 2 Essendon Mazda Australian Stakes, won last year by Sea Lord. Before that, Black Caviar in 2012 and 2010. White Friars for Rick Worthington. Lucky Secret. Well, the Australian flag is flying and Linda Meach carries the famous Australian flag. And what a story it would be for Linda Meach to get a Group 2 win here for her good mate and her boss in Peter Moody. She's been so loyal to the state.
And Moment of Change jumps evenly, steadies up early. General Jackson, Zeddy Knight drive through, they go to the front. Spot on Target settle down third. And Moment of Change posted wide goes on fourth. Being followed, it is written Tokugawa. Through to Sea Lord as they run the first turn. Then Big Buddy Richie's Vibe counted as last of all. So General Jackson leads at the 800, a half Zeddy Knight. Moment of Change pulling third, the outside, no cover. In behind them, it is written Tokugawa. 2 lengths in front of Spot on Target, a length and a half away is Sea Lord, Big Buddy, Richie's Vibe, second last, and last is counted. Down past the 500 metres, General Jackson, Zeddy Knight by a length. Moment of Change having a pretty torrid run. It is written right behind them, followed by Tokugawa, Sea Lord running on hard, and Richie's Vibe starting to work his way through the pack. General Jackson headed by Zeddy Knight. Moment of Change still there, running on Tokugawa. Richie's Vibe, it is written Cark and a run into the straight. Moment of Change race to the lead from Zeddy Knight. Then it is written getting a late split. Moment of Change, chart. It is written in Richie's Vibe driving left line. Richie's Vibe finishes up on the inside. Big Moment of Change in the very last stop. It is written third, and they got away from Counter who ran on. Tokugawa, Sea Lord, Zeddy Knight weakened in the run home, and so did General Jackson. Back at the end is Big Buddy, and a bad last in the race. Going over the line is Spot on Target.
Well, Richie's Vibe gets a Group 2 win for Tony Vasil, and what a ride by Damien Oliver. Got back off the speed to weave through the field. Of course, he doesn't panic. He never does. He bursts through and nails Moment of Change right on the line. Well, they'll be up in Adelaide, Richo. He had about 3 or 4 runs there. Looked a promising horse. Tony Vasil's done a great job. Remember, this horse has been up for the Spring Carnival, and he's come through now the summer period.
And this is a terrific race here, the Manford Stakes. A lot of 3-year-olds heading towards the Guineas, and most of these fresh up. So perhaps Sammy's eye from the yard, very helpful to us here in terms of where he thinks they're at in the preparation. Prince Arata, your favourite. It's an interesting story about as well. Prince Arata heavily tried here, 330 into 3, ball point 330 out to 370.
Sing and Prince Arata began very quickly over near the outside. Hard Stride got away fast, and Bull Point jumped well as they go through the first 100 metres, and it's Hard Stride going to the lead. Worth the Ransom moved through to second. Bull Point on the outside and Resistant in the blue colours is fourth. They're 2 lengths in front of Prince Arata. Then followed down on the inside, Fast and Rocking. Monkstone second last, and last the quarterback. Worth the Ransom led by about a length. Hard Stride second, Resistant third on the inside. A length and a half to Bull Point. Beautifully poised fourth, and he's 2 lengths in front of Prince Arata, tracking up well. Then 2 lengths away, Fast and Rocking on the inside, followed by Monkstone and the quarterback. Worth the Ransom coming to the turn, almost a length. Hard Stride and Resistant. Bull Point called on for his run, and Prince Arata's coming deep on his outside. They make their runs together. The 2 big guns after the leaders. Worth the Ransom around the turn, being tackled firstly by Bull Point down the outside. Prince Arata started to wind up, coming home well. Still Worth the Ransom giving a kick. Bull Point getting level with him with 100 to go. 2 lengths to Prince Arata. Bull Point put his head in front now. Bull Point too strong. Bull Point won it by a length. Worth a Ransom held second. Photo for third, Prince Arata, and the quarterback who flashed home from last, followed by Fast and Rocking. Hard Stride, Resistant. Last to finish was Monkstone.
Well, touch of class here, and Oliver goes the right way. He could have ridden Prince Arata, but he went the way of Bull Point. Exciting horse who resumes here in Melbourne on towards the Guineas, and he chased down the leader here, Worth a Ransom. Good stuff.
Yeah, and he looks every bit worth it. He started second favourite at 370.
5 Fastnet Rock Pulse for the owners, led by the Coolmore team. Obviously, cost $960,000 as a Magic Millions year. I think he's on the way to repaying that.
In good time, as you say. Certainly speaks well for the prep coming up.
Yeah, he put the writing on the wall with the run in the Golden Rose last year, where he came from so far tailed off, and to make that ground up just shows that he has got a bit of X factor, and hopefully he can fulfil that this time in.
I reckon Gale, a talented Sydney 3-year-old.
Yep. Rock Hero. He's had a good trial. Well, he's had a couple of good trials up in Sydney.
And Accord missed it by 2 lengths. He's straight out the back, and Late Charge Parolic go back as well. Rock Hero bounced away quickly. He's up in the leading few in the early part, but as they settle into stride through the first couple, and it's Counter Snip in front. Rock Hero moving up his outside. Pretty easy run. Rock Hero a half length second, 1.5 Thunder Fantasy. One Brings Something. Being ridden along then is Bardem, followed by Late Charge Parolic, and 2 or 3 lengths away Accord. On the corner now, and moving up Rock Hero race to the lead ahead of Counter Snip. Thunder Fantasy called on down the outside, then Brings Something, and down the outside at the head of the others was Late Charge, starting to warm up well. Rock Hero inside the 200 narrowly. Thunder Fantasy coming at him. Late Charge warming up. Thunder Fantasy hit the lead. 50 to go. Thunder Fantasy starting to pull clear. Too good for them. Thunder Fantasy won it by a length and 3/4. Rock Hero holds on to second, and Late Charge will be third. Bardem close up fourth. Then Counter Snip. Back behind those Bring Something. Parolic didn't finish off. The Cord last in.
Well, until this morning, we all thought it'd be Polanski coming here and winning off the back of the Derby. Some of the fantasy was 4.5 lengths behind him on Derby Day at Flemington. With the winner out, Polanski comes on and does that. Had a nice stalk up in Melbourne for the Anthony Cummings stable. Sean?
Yeah, sure does.
3/4.
Juveniles. 2-year-old fillies come to the yard for the Sporting Bet Blue Diamond Prelude Stakes. Terrific race. There's the market. Earthquake is your favourite. Ahead of eloping. Is that support against them? I say 7-6 laid back filly for Dale. She just the black caviar's a bit of the head down and just wandering along saying, what's on next here? Well, she's about to go and show us what she's got here. She's the raging favourite, and what we saw we liked on debut.
And says they can produce 2-year-olds as a stable, and they all look like this, Bruce. You've noted
for Top Dolly. I love the way she paraded and in the pre-parade, and now coming down.
Earthquake 210. Now it's into $1.55. $1.55. This big move here for Earthquake continues, and this is the start of 2 great races that will shape the Sporting Bet Blue Diamond to be run here in a couple of weeks' time.
Racing. Earthquake began fairly from her stall, and Mumbai Rock began very quickly. Earthquake recovers quite fast, and she's going up to have a crack for the lead, but pushing up on the inside is Eloping and Topside, and they lead Earthquake, who gets into a good trail third, 1.5 lengths in front of Snits and Bits and Piagenza. Mumbai Rock about 6th, the outside 3 deep without any cover, and then Golconda, Royal Ocean, Singularity. Lamosti back second last, and last is Top Dolly. Eloping at the 550, 3/4 clear. Earthquake moved up to second, followed by Topside, Piagenza. 1.5 lengths, Snits and Bits as they neared the turn, and then Mumbai Rock niggled wide from Golconda. Singularity, Royal Ocean, Lamosti and Top Dolly. Eloping leads around the home turn. Earthquake just wobbled slightly, and she's now given full ball by Brown. Eloping by neck to Earthquake, and they're 2 lengths to Piagenza. The rest for boxing on, headed by Lamosti. Now Earthquake given a slap for the whip, and she answers and kicks away with great acceleration. 3 lengths pouring away from them, and it's Earthquake winning it easily from about 3 lengths to Eloping, and Lamosti got up for third, just in front of Topside and Piagenza, followed by Royal Ocean. Golconda weakened out. Top Dolly didn't come on, and then Snits and Bits, and together at the end of the field here are Mumbai Rock and Singularity.
Well, she was good, wasn't she? Excellent work here by the favourite, heavily back favourite in 1:3.71. She didn't things go right for her in the first basically 400 metres, but once she balanced up, pointed for home, she exploded. We'll see in the next half hour the chances of the Colts, headed off by Rubik. The filly's got her job done in good style. 1-3 as Peter Snowden for Darley as they get the win here of Earthquake. And we'll be back more shortly at Caulfield to see the exciting now Park Coolmore owned Rubik. 2-year-olds with Rubik, of course. Coolmore announcing today that they had bought a share with the current 4 partners in this horse, the son of Costa de Lago. Of course, Costa de Lago coming towards the end of his stud career. And now they think they've found in Rubik a horse to carry on those bloodlines, which they made so famous around the world. So Rubik, I suppose it is, but all of those who do ratings and marks based on performance say this is as good a 2-year-old as we've had in the modern era. Here's his chance to live up to a totally big point.
Anyway, they wanted to back him since Thursday. He's now $1.60 into 155 on track, and he is got himself into a bit of a mood.
Putting on a real show, isn't he?
Rubik just a touch awkward down towards the inside. He'll need to burrow through. Jeremiah bounced away quickly, and so did Malaguira. And going through is Mojave near the inside, and also Jeremiah. So Rubik settles just off the early lead. He's pushing through on the inside now. So it is Rubik going up, and he goes to the lead, but there's pressure aplenty up there. Mojave and Berlutia with him with Jeremiah. 2 lengths in front of Francesco, getting a nice trail, followed by Silent Whisper a couple of lengths away, Jabali and Duckworth, and they're followed by Cornrow, Malaguira, Uncle Keithy. Nostradamus is a fair way back with Pure Addiction, followed by Searle, Chivalry, and Stratum Star coming around the turn. Rubik against the inside. He's done a bit of work, but he cornered, and he cornered beautifully too. Led by 2 lengths, Mojave. Down the outside now, Jabali starting to finish off fairly well, followed by Francesco. Rubik is clear. He's 2 lengths in front. Jabali's running on pretty well on the outside. Abdullah's pulled the whip on Rubik. He's 2 Jabali. Chivalry coming home with Nostradamus. Rubik's in front. There might not be a lot there, but he's got in by a length. Second, Jabali. Flying Chivalry will get third ahead of Nostradamus. Cornrow, Francesco, Stratum Star, Renwell, followed by Duckworth and Malaguira. Then came Mojave, followed by Silent Whisper, Pure Addiction, Uncle Keith. And would you believe it? Exactly the same time.
1371 for the girls, 1371 for the boys. They've both got their jobs done today, but they've got a job to do in 2 weeks' time, both of them, because Rubik, good today, gets a big pass mark. We'll talk to Gerald shortly.
No, I'm not concerned. He'll learn quick. He's in strange around. He's been here 4 days, you know. He'll improve of it.
I mean, you have to kick up and use that inside because he had it. Would you prefer, or would you be better off taking a sit and having something to chase down?
No, I think, you know, the number.
Second, Jabali, Flying Chivalry.
I'll do all the analysis of times, and you can get your slide rule out and work out what was better than the girls or the boys, and they run the same time. And of course, the boys went very quick for the first half here, Brett. And obviously, you had to make a decision whether you take a sit or not. And the barrier's a long, long time.
Yeah, look, obviously the game plan was just sort of be positive away and try and use the rail to advantage. But if something was going to drive you mad, well, you know, come back and obviously, you know, try and work it out. But look, I had that option after probably 50 metres when I didn't begin best, and I wasn't sure what to do. And look, I just had a quick look, and I've seen 3 or 4 horses that I probably didn't want to be behind, and just rode him like the best horse in the race. And even honourable Saturday, if they don't beat him Saturday, well, look, I doubt the Colts will beat him again. Because he just, look, he went into that race probably yesterday just probably a touch soft. He's probably, you know, done a bit well and probably got away from us a little bit.
And it's Earthquake winning it easily from about 3 lengths to eloping, and Lamossi.
Yeah, pretty soft in him, but entitled to be, given that she had to run on the speed where there was little speed, and home in 34, 33, and matches the time exactly to the 10th that, of course, the boys ran. We knew she was good. She ran up to it. I suppose what comes out of it, eloping was good. All on speed as it should have been here.
Improvement had come from both the winners yesterday, I thought. Earthquake didn't get around the corner as well as Damien Brown would have liked. And then he just gave her that chance to balance up and get settled in the straight before he asked her to sprint. And when he did, that turn of foot was there, which was great to see. Lumosity was very good, obviously running on a day when it was hard to. The really interesting runner out of this fillies race, I think, is eloping, because if it goes on towards the Blue Diamond, which we assume it will, it's probably the leader in the race. I think of the horses we've seen so far, it's got the best natural speed. So as Brenton was saying, looking for a bunny, and Earthquake had it yesterday. I think both horses will appreciate having a lead into the race. Eloping becomes a
Rubik, and then they obviously dominate the equation there. Of course, the one who won't be interesting what Gerald said yesterday about not committed to the slipper with Rubik, Brett.
Yeah, look, it's
a special group.
Certainly is. What a highly entertaining half hour or so it was watching 2-year-old racing across the country. That was the Colts and Geldings there. Rubik, he looked absolutely sensational. They both ran the same time too, 103.71, the same time as Earthquake in the race prior. She took out the fillies division. So they were both doing well. This filly Earthquake, she was a little bit slow out of the gates yesterday.
Yeah.
Dominant in the end.
Yeah, look, she's a very good filly. I think Peter's always thought that she was pretty exciting, but you like to see them do it on the day. Where she goes, you know, she goes to the Blue Diamond next. Whether she gets as far as Sydney in the slipper, I don't really know. But
vision that could trouble her in 2 weeks' time.
No, I don't think so. I think it's only the Colts that can trouble her. She stands alone here. I love the way she's just a little slow into stride, and I love the way he could press the button and go forward. Then he eased back on her, and then he went forward again. She did a bit of work in the run, I thought, and when he does ask for the full effort straightening up here, she pricks the ears, and there's just something special about her. She did it. She seemed to do it with ease. And what I want to add into there, I'll tell you why I like her, and I think I like her better than Rubik at this stage, is because they ran the same time for the gross time of the race, but she sprinted home almost a second quicker than he did. Now, albeit that means they probably went a little bit easier early in the race, but she showed acceleration, and it's all about acceleration. So I reckon she's head and shoulders above the fillies at the moment. Lamosty was not a bad run. No, it's one for the future. It's a fast net rock filly who will get better with a bit of racing.
I agree.
Henry, let's have a look at Rubik. What did you look? He had to do a little bit. He may not have looked super impressive, Henry, but he did do a bit of work.
Well, we had a colt in that race that we rated, Mojave, and they flew out of the barriers. They went very hard. So I think it's an amazing performance from that little horse. He's actually gone with the leaders, and then he's kicked off the turn. So you can't take anything away from that. And I don't like making predictions about who got home faster than the other, because in a race like the Blue Diamond, it's bloody tough. You know, there's going to be a full field, and you know,
it was an outstanding performance. Believe me, that was an outstanding performance. He was pressured. The horses around him dropped off. He survived. Gerald was adamant before the race. He's gone into the race a gallop short. The key to these two 2-year-olds is who can cope. The filly had the easier run. That horse had a gut buster. Some horses can bounce off a gut buster, some can't. He can go home and be a sook for the next, 3 weeks. That might be the end of him. It might be the making of him as well. We won't know that until Blue Diamond Day.
He's lost his favouritism for the Diamond and also for the Golden Slipper. I think he's right out to $8 now in the Golden Slipper. Earthquake 240, Rubik 270, and that's pretty much
later in the day, and also of course on the Racing Review on TVN tomorrow. This is the Rubiton Stakes coming up here, where the favourite
Lankan Rupee away very, very quickly indeed. Also beginning fast is Better Than Ready down on the inside. Iconic jumped a lot better, and First Command away fast from the outside. But Lankan Rupee has the lead. First Command is a half length second. Better Than Ready is third. They're followed by Diamond Oasis over on the outside. And a bit deeper out on the course then in fourth or fifth placing is Pocket Rockets, being trailed then by Iconic, who's drifted back on the inside in company with Accelerata. And Line of Belfort is between runners at the tail. But it's Lankan Rupee who's doing it quite comfortably by half a length. First Commander's second, a length and a half away. Better Than Ready down on the inside, followed Diamond Oasis, and Pocket Rockets is coming on as they cornered into the straight now, and Lankan Rupee by a length and a half, running second on the outside. First Command, Diamond Oasis coming home fairly well, and then came Iconic, but it's Lankan Rupee, 100 to go by 2 lengths. First Command drops off. Better Than Ready coming home with Iconic, but Lankan Rupee was never going to be beaten, scored by 3 lengths. Iconic got up for second just ahead of First Command and Better Than Ready. Then Diamond Oasis. Line of Belfort didn't come on, nor did Pocket Rockets at Accelerata last.
Hasn't he come back a star? 1:2.5 his run. Brilliant timing here. All of his own making. And you just sensed when we saw that trial shown at Cranbourne that he was the real deal sprinter. There's a place up for grab in the sprinting ranks. Burnabow put his hand up yesterday at the jump outs at Flemington, and he'll be a good measure next week in the Lightning Stakes. But here's an Oakley Plate bound horse. Last horse to win this and the Oakley Plate, though, was Spartacus, going back a long time. But I think we're seeing a real emerging sprinter here.
I'll tell you what, it's going to take a good sprinter to beat this in the Oakley Plate. Oh, gee, look, we saw the difference that it was made in their last.
Very messy. Today's a be there day, and it was messy behind.
Got up for second just ahead of first.
So Gilden can do for your Shark. He's come back a star, and he trialled that well for it, and now off to the Oakley Plate. Very good.
Well, he had, and so did his stablemate Line of Belfort. And look, Rick Price was certainly on the front foot saying during the week that Lankan Rupee was more forward of the two, and you saw that yourself when the horses came into the mounting yard. And Market told you the story as well. He was just up and about. You can see that the Oakley Plate is the race that Mick's really eyeing off for him, and I think handicap conditions are only going to suit him better. I thought of the rest. Iconic, as Brent mentioned, was good. Better Than Ready, a little bit disappointing back towards the rails, but he is better getting to the outside.
Well, he was good early 3-year-old, and then he sort of went off as he got older, and they obviously identified that he was a bit of a handful and that he needed gelding to produce his best. Well, this was exciting because First Command, I know he's 8 years old and probably not as good as he was, but he's still got some top-end speed. And it was with Lankan Rupee until Lankan Rupee just dropped the hammer here. and just burst away from them. And this is a very, very good sprinter. He's run 1, 2.5 for that 1,100 metres there. And only good sprinters can do that the way he did it. So I'm a bit excited about him. I think he might be the next top liner. Look, he's on his way, isn't he? He's first up there. He trialled brilliantly leading into the race. And look, you have to like him, but I think he has to answer the question of the Oakley Plate first. Okay. If he can come out and win or be unlucky in that race, then we're talking with some gas, because we need something step up to the mark. And because he can put himself right on top of the speed and he can kick. There's a lot to like about him. I like to like it.
Right here at Caulfield, as the wet bowl gets up to about under where it's meant to be anyway. Terrific lineup here for the Group 1, the first Group 1 of the calendar year. Sporting Bet CF4 Stakes, where Seamus Award is second favourite behind Moment of Change. Moment of Change is very tight the tote. Look at that, 180, 180, 190 across all the totes. Seamus Award second pick from Eurozone. Good field. Fellas, and then Lincoln Rupee devastating. This is the group.
Hawkesbury jumped a half length in front. Moment of Change got away quickly and he's up there, and Seamus Award went with him, and the two favourites settle together. So Moment of Change only narrowly. He's a half in front, Seamus Award. 3 lengths Eurozone, 2 lengths behind them Hawkesbury finishing card. 4 tellers back last. They seem to run it pretty solidly. They head to the 1,000 metres and it's Moment of Change by 2. Seamus Award, Williams allowed him to drop in second. 2.5 lengths Eurozone. Similar margin away to Hawkesbury. 2 finishing card. 4 teller last on the rail. They come up the side now. 800 left to go. Moment of Change by 2. Seamus Award does the chasing work. 2 in front of Eurozone and 2 lengths to Hawkesbury. 4 teller and finishing card together at the rear of the field. So Moment of Change the leader. 600 left to go. 2.5 still. Seamus Award second. 1.5 Eurozone. Hawkesbury close enough as they came towards the turn. They've run it fast. And 4 teller finishing card together at the end. 400 left to go. Moment of Change. Corners about 2 lengths in front. Seamus Award staying in his slipstream for as long as possible. Eurozone third. Moment of Change went to the 200. Now Williams eases over his heels on Seamus Award and says, let's go. Moment of Change about a length in front. Seamus Award wants to lay in behind him. He won't get there. Eurozone's going to be the last closer. Moment of Change hanging on near the line. Eurozone dived. Just missed, I think. Moment of Change just from Eurozone. Seamus Award 2 lengths away third. Little disappointing late. Followed by 4 teller and a break then Hawkesbury and finishing card.
It's been a long time coming, but he's going to get this Moment of Change. A deserved return to the Group 1 winner's stall. To the winner's stall as such. He controlled the race and he just last beat Eurozone, who was brave, chasing him for a good campaign towards the Guineas and Australian Cup. And you could just sense when Seamus Award wanted to lay in behind Moment of Change, top of the straight, that some condition was giving out there. But Nolan's back. The race has been theirs, Moody and Nolan, the past 3 seasons, and they're back in it again here, and just as planned.
Yep, that was his.
You know, he carved out a good gallop, and he's been a fraction behind all prep, but we were confident enough that he was forward enough today, and I think there's nice improvement in him to come home, come back for the Futurity in a couple of weeks again.
He's always been a terrific.
It has always returned a check and always done us very proud, and to have him back here at home under these conditions today, it was good to see him salute.
Ever been in touch for?
Yeah, it's been probably well publicised that I took a little bit of time just to gather the thoughts, and probably was a good time to sort of step away for a bit. Pete's team wasn't flying, so.
Big Moment of Change just from Eurozone.
Well, I'm beaten at the 1400 at Caulfield, but that was tremendous. $50,000 purchase for Rob Slade and his team, and they've won over 1.2 million. What a great story he's been. Even though he's been winless, he's been trying so hard. Luke, you've been aboard him most of the times. It really mapped out well for you yesterday, that race, and you got away with the race he should have won.
I think so, and it's probably a great confidence builder for him too going forward. There's improvement in him, so that was just good to see him put his head out in front, in a Group 1.
Was it a tactical strategy of yours to go out and not really just stack the field up? Obviously, in a small field, and you look the likely leader. You weren't going along at a really strong tempo, but you weren't waiting around for them either. You're just trying to use his strength there and that little fitness edge you may have had.
Probably there was no real advantage fitness-wise. I think there was good improvement in him. So he never had a trial going into his first up run.
Finished the race really strongly. the winner just dying on his run late. Thought we were nearly going to pick him up, but we just couldn't quite get there.
Tells you
The race, you just basically just grab his times and just say he ran an amazing run first up. Just the way the track pattern was, the winner was very impressive and made the most of the way the racing was. And I think my horse, I was really happy with his first up run.
Yeah, it was really.
Yeah, I think Durozone's certainly the horse to follow. That was only his first preparation last time in, first run in Melbourne. So I think he's got a lot of improvement. I think he's the horse to follow.
From the Lightning to Black Caviar, he ran second in the Newmarket Handicap as well.
Oh, look, he was beautifully presented into this race by Moody, and I thought he got a terrific ride by Nolan. The point being that he'd had the lead-up run in the Australia Stakes, and he was second up here, where his main opposition, the 3-year-olds, were a bit soft, and he's caught them on the hop. And Nolan went quick enough to take the sting out of the 3-year-olds, who may have just felt the pinch there with a hard-run race. So I thought tactically it was fantastic. And the way the horse was presented in the race by Moody was fantastic as well.
All right, let's just have a look at
He gets a pass mark because he had to chase a much fitter horse, I'm suggesting, and you could see when he wants to hang in late here that he's just out on his feet. He's had enough. I thought Eurozone was terrific. He was first up, and I remember when he left Sydney after a track gallop, he looked way above himself in condition. So he'll get another crack at a Group 1 throughout the autumn. And this could have been a big result for him, being a son of Northern Media or a 3-year-old. If he would have won this Group 1, he would have been worth a fortune. So there's a fine line between winning and losing these Group 1s.
I would give Seamus an award. Well, 3 points to go with wet ground, hidden direction and Mooney Valley. If you take those kind of records, it's going to be quite exceptional, but that's not going to be the case. And he's probably going to have to win all 3 again to continue his career.
Pete, you've dominated this race in recent years with Typhoon Tracy and Black Caviar a couple of years ago, but just with Moment of Change, you mentioned there Sydney. We know that they've got huge prize money, but by the sounds of that, you might even look at Adelaide or Goodwood or something like that.
Yeah, well, he's the sort of horse you've probably got to have him everywhere, and the money I've got to consider Sydney, but realistically thinking those 3-year-olds are going to be better again in another 6 or 8 weeks, and I'm not sure what path they're taking, and no doubt
of the afternoon here at Randwick. It is the Expressway Stakes, Group 2, weight for age race over the 1,200 metres. And how good is Boban? That's what we're going to find out very, very soon.
Yeah, look, Natural Will is a champion rider, but it's different today. You know, Glenn Schofield's the one who's got him going and got him travelling and took him.
Yes, they bet now into 210 already. This has been a strong, strong go for Boban. In around that $2.10 mark, this has been heavily backed.
Appearance. $12 out to $15, and number 11, Any Day Will Do.
Slowly in the centre, he half bounded in the air. Carlton House missed it as well. They're out the back. It's Rain Affair leading out from River Lad. Pinwheel began well. How Much Do You Love Me settling down just off the speed in third or fourth, followed by Any Day Will Do. And then Appearance, followed by Sizzling going up on the outside. Boban back on the rail, followed by Speediness, Carlton House and Moriarty last. Rain Affair now starting to extend his lead. Went about 2.5 in front of River Lad. How Much Do You Love Me? Then Pinwheel, followed by Any Day Will Do. Sizzling midfield, and then a length and a half to Boban. He's back on the rail, followed in behind then next by Appearance. Speediness is back and wide, and then Carlton House and Moriarty. So Rain Affair going further ahead as they turn. He's about 4 lengths in front, looking for his second Expressway. Leads up the rise from River Lad. Pinwheel starting to run on. Boban still a mile back, and they've got a wall of horses in front of him. River Lad coming at Rain Affair. Appearance is starting to thunder down the centre of the track, and Boban starting to get out late, but it's Appearance moving up to hit the lead now, and Appearance is darting away. Appearance too good, beat River Lad. Sizzling will get third, then Pinwheel. Boban no luck, followed by Any Day Will Do, and then came Speediness, Moriarty, followed by How Much Do You Love Me, Carlton House, and Rain Affair has run a shocker, finished at the back of the field.
Appearance, the winner, number 10 for Guy Walter, and Blake Shin first up. She appreciated the strong tempo. She's a multiple Group 1 winner, and she shows her class here.
The favourite Boban might do. She accelerated and just, wow, exploded. 34.89, she dashed home the last 600 metres. Appearance, $13. And that's why I said
He resumed in a different grade last time in, and he'd never won at 1,200, but he'd been unlucky in an 1,100 metre race. So I still think he was a little bit disappointing late. But as Richie said, I'd like to see him again. He did have a long campaign through, Brisbane, Sydney, then Melbourne. Maybe he hasn't quite come up, but we'll know next time.
Then no luck.
quality mare appearance. She's won 3 Group 1 races, but she doesn't really get a lot of recognition. Henry, I bet she's a star back at Darley, though.
Oh, look, she's a very good mare. She's had a few problems during her career, which is well documented. She ties up, and that's wrong. She's a really good mare.
Well, that was definitely on song there yesterday. That was a tip-top field, and how could anything in that field beat her on that performance? And I get she's in for an amazing autumn, I'd suggest.
Well, we hope so. I hope so. It'll be her last autumn probably, and she missed the spring.
Oh,
was Boban unlucky?
No, he got held up. He's been held up before. That's his forte, when he gets held up in ambushes. When he does get out, if you keep your eye on him, it was about 80 metres to go, and he couldn't get past Sizzling, who was holding him on the line.
He had a soft run on the inside there, and yeah. I agree with you. I think he was a bit common when he got space.
Jury's out on him. Well, obviously he's too good a horse to bar on one run.
And he's never been at his best first up. He's never been.
No, he has not.
Fires first up.
He got to a mile last prep. So look, let's just assess him after his next run. As we keep saying, the winner was brilliant. Look, speediness was forgivable because of a slow start there. I thought Sizzling was a very good futurity trial. He needed the run, he was strong on the line, and he will live in his camp.
It's long, John, past the 200 metres mark, 5 lengths in front of Safety Check, then Ferdinand. Everett Flyer is running on. The Spring Carnival form of Australia has come to Maidan in a big, big way, and Long John is...
Yes, Dubai during the week. That's Long John. He won the Caulfield Guineas, of course, going back to the spring of last year. That was his first run in Dubai, and Andrew will be able to watch him because I think he's going to run on one of those other races, support races on Dubai World Cup night.
He certainly will, Mass. Really decisive win there on Friday morning our time, and really going forward to the Derby over there. It's only run over 1,800 metres, so that will be a plus because whether he ran the Cox Plate distance, who knows, last year, but certainly the 1,800 will suit him in March.
Stakes races for the 3-year-olds coming up here. This is the Middies Vanity, good field. You've got Oaks horses resuming, and you've got the very fit Scratchy Bottom, or the fitter Scratchy Bottom. They're not very tight, this Solicit. Well, let's have a look at them in the yard.
Them quite well too, and Solicit jumps nicely on the inside, rezoned immediately out the back. Critical Angel had bounced away quickly and is immediately second behind Solicit, who come 100 left to go, and Solicit just starting to stretch the field out a little, led by just over a length. Critical Angel goes with her, and they're 5 in front now. From in third placing is Quayside down on the inside, and around her Girl in Flight, 2 lengths clear to Spirit of Heaven, being followed by Rezone, Scratchy Bottom, Sensibility last, less than 600 to go. Coming around the turn, Solicit only narrowly to Critical Angel. Quayside 4 lengths away with Girl in Flight, Rezoned over on the inside. Spirit of Heaven has pulled out for her run, and Scratchy Bottom's one of the last. She's peeled to the middle of the track. Solicit the leader. Coming down towards the 300, still over a length in front. Running on solidly is Critical Angel, followed then by Girl in Flight. Scratchy Bottom's too far back. Solicit, 150 to go, still by 2. Critical Angel clinging to her coattails, but can't go with her. And Solicit all the way. She has boxed them up. Solicit easily. Second, Critical Angel, and third goes 4 lengths away to Girl in Flight. Scratchy Bottom worked home for fourth, and then Sensibility, followed by Spirit of Heaven.
1, 2, 3 around the corner. 1, 2, 3 home. Great tactics here by Damien Lane, who's riding under a stay of proceedings.
Yeah, she's certainly going to be in for a terrific campaign if that run is any indication.
This race, good race. This is the CS Hayes Hucklebuck from South Australia, the favourite, but a very, very competitive lineup here. Nothing really backed at this stage.
Money now coming for Hucklebuck. He was at $3.10 for a while. He firms back into $3. He's the clear-cut favourite, now $2.90.
Off and racing, and he's jumped away sweetly down towards the inside, and Worth the Ransom got away fast over on the outside. Kushadasi was slow to move, and he's out the back early with Epic Saga. Worth the Ransom coming over, finding the lead. Prince Harada's right up there in second placing, in company with Monkstone, and Surge Ahead pushing up on the inside. Just off them, Hucklebuck. He's fifth along the fence, being followed by an Epic Saga at the end. Worth the Ransom led. Prince Harada coming down the side, 2 in front of Surge Ahead at the 800 metres. Next, Monkstone the outside in fourth place. Racing and Hucklebuck's fifth defence from San Diego, being followed by the quarterback and then Criterion, another length and a half away to Kushadasi. At the 600 metres, he's third from last, being followed by Tiranado and Epic Saga. They're swinging around the turn, 500 left to go. Worth the Ransom narrowly to Prince Harada and moving up Monkstone, 3 wide from Surge ahead in behind them. Hucklebuck trying to get out. He had a bit of a bump there with San Diego, but he's now balanced and in the clear, and the quarterback was behind him. Well, Dom is sitting as quietly as you can on Hucklebuck, and it's Worth the Ransom, Prince Harada, the 2 leaders. Hucklebuck is now starting to come home, and the quarterback's got to the outside. Hucklebuck hit the front from Prince Harada with 100 to go, and then the quarterback, but it's Hucklebuck who's too strong and cuts away, and Hucklebuck by a length. Prince Harada second, the quarterback's run third, and Criterion finished it off nicely with Tiranado out wider. Then Worth the Ransom, Surge ahead, followed further back Kushadasi. San Diego back towards the end, followed by Monkstone and Epic Saga, one of the last in.
Good call, isn't he, Hucklebuck? A little slight concern, top of the straight, getting out. But once he got out, he sat there, counted the 10, maybe 11, maybe 12, and extended and lowered down like a good horse that he is. Could be unbeaten in a 7-star career. Prince Harada better today, riding the speed. The quarterback long term with this horse.
Oh, look, we'll just take it as it comes. Like the Guineas was always my plan.
Now let's go to the Colin Hayes Stakes. Hucklebuck, he was very good going back to the spring, and it looks like he's come back just as well, if not better, to the autumn.
He's a very good horse, isn't he? He's a very good horse. He was. You could say he could be unbeaten. The times he's been beaten, he's been unlucky. It was a lovely ride from Tenor, even though he drew barrier 1. He got him into the clear at the right time.
Good percentage ride, wasn't it? He just pulled all the right reins at the right time. I saw this horse win his first race back this preparation in Adelaide. Got to the front way too early and just got a little tired the last 50 metres. He knew there was going to be plenty of improvement in him. And beautifully ridden yesterday, he really produced and looked pretty good. But there were some other good ones in that race. I thought Harada's son was much better. Much better, ridden up on the pace. Prince Harada, sorry. Yeah. Ridden up on the pace. And because he lacks acceleration, I think, and he struggles when he has to accelerate. But ridden up on the pace where he could sort of work into his work, he went much better.
I thought if you've got a bump quarterback, you'll never see a better ride than that from Alan, because, like I say, he could get on the bit and over race in the Guineas. Quarterback, you'll never see a better ride than that from Alan on that horse. His ride from barrier 8 was an absolute pearl. Criterion was a great derby trial as far as the Sydney's concerned. There were some very good runs in that race.
I like the race.
The Black Caviar Lightning Stakes, a bit of light rain falling at Flemington at the moment. First time we've seen rain in Melbourne since about 2010, I think. It's been nothing. It's only about a mil of rain so far, but it's making it a bit uncomfortable for those in the mounting yard, but not for the horses on the track. Track won't be affected by this. Here's the market for the Group 1. Comes up very short on the tape, this. I'm talking about Some Are Ready. You can see what price it is there now. It's been well tried on course ahead of Snitzelin and Bernabo. Sham Express next pick.
20 into 3.10 early. Just comes back out marginally to 3.20. And the last couple of minutes, they've taken the 5.50 about Bernabo, 5.50 into 5. Best of the long shots, according to the marketplace, is African Pulse, who's been 41 into 26.
All in 1,000 metres at Group 1. They're racing. Some already jumped okay. Esprit de Bottle a bit awkward alongside of it, and also a bit slow to move was Boomwa. Snitzelin got away well, and Bernabeu began brilliantly in the middle of the line, and Bugatti not far away, and Brilliant Biscuits the widest runner as they settle down now after about 300 metres. And it's Snitzelin moving up outside. Bernabeu, African Pulse close to the inside, is up with the leading bunch of horses, and Boomwa's recovered to be up fourth. Brilliant Bisc plotting a solo course out wide on the course, isn't too far away. They're followed by Aeronautical Sham Express. Back behind them is Sam already, being desperately ridden at the moment and needing to get a real burst from there, followed by Bugatti, Pago, Rock, Esprit de Bullets well back in the field, and so too Unpretentious. It's Snitzelland going great guns with Sham Express chasing hard now. It's Sham Express after Snitzelland. He just wanted to roll it a bit, and then Unpretentious and Sam already. Snitzelland is in front. The little girl's holding on, and Snitzelland's got a Group 1. She's hit by a half. Sham Express second. Sam already got up for third. Closely fourth, Unpretentious or Pago Rock. Ahead of Esprit de Bullet, Brilliant Biscuit, then came Bugatti, followed further back by Aeronautical, Boom Warrant, African Pulse, and, well, a distant last in it is Bernabeu. Something's not right there.
Brilliant win by Gerald Ryan's filly here, Snitzelland, and fitting for Neil Werrett, of course, senior part owner of Black Caviar, and there his colours carried The year after her trilogy by Brenton Avdulla to win here in great style. Just travelled so sweetly on the bridle up the straight here. Looked as though Sham Express would go past. Got a bit rolling up the straight for Sham Express. Some already always off the bit. Tango Rush from a beauty. Unpretentious. Excellent. But
Rurik wins next week. I think we'll all be on cloud nine.
Won the Mornington Cup. Can you give someone else a chance there, Neil? You're having a great run. I know you love it and enjoy your racing. Well done.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks a lot.
There's Neil Werrett. Just forgot about this one.
Yeah, Snitzelland, that was a first Group 1 and she deserved it too. Brenton Avdulla was on board and he's our special guest on Racing
Sydney and worked out all right.
Mate, the way that replay unfolded, you were just saying you were travelling so well at about that 400 to 500 metre mark. At that stage, were you supremely confident?
Yeah, she just jumped so well for the first 300 metres. I probably couldn't hold her much slower and I was just trucking. Bernabo probably left me a sitting shot, you know, a bit earlier than I wanted to, but my mare, she was pretty wound up, ready to go. And when I asked her the supreme effort, you know, inside that last 300, she really found for me.
What I liked about the ride, Brenton, is that you rode her like 1,000 metre. You rode the race like 1,000 metre race. You didn't try and hold her up too much. You know, you had confidence in the filly to let her run.
Yeah, Duff, look, she's a very, very fast mare, and the way she trialled the other day, you could just tell, you know, how good she's going. And she's obviously a 1,000 metre track record holder at Warwick Farm. And Gerald spoke to me in the morning. He said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, there's no point, you know, trying to go too slow. If I can just control the tempo at her own rhythm early, and then just make it an improving 3 furlong gallop, that'll be in her best interest." And you know, she did the rest.
Brenton Wells yesterday with Snitzelland. Anything else out of the lightning before we move on? What did you think of those 2-year-olds? Didn't get in the game?
Yeah, look, there was a bit of an incident at the start with Boomwire, so they weren't up to the task on the day. Look, Sham Express was beautifully ridden by Oliver. He stalked the winner, Snitzelland, and he come off the back, and I thought he was going to explode and win. But it was he's a good straight horse, and I think it was a good Newmarket trial from him.
Absolutely.
And likewise with Summer Ready, she sort of lost the speed of that race. It's just unusual for her, but her trial for the Newmarket was excellent also. They're the two that I thought raced pretty well out of that race.
Couldn't be critical of Craig Newell and Sam already, because in those 1,000 metre races at that level, they can go that quickly. What do? Chase your horse off the bit for 200 metres trying to keep in touch? Well, you don't want to do that either. So you've just got to hope that they're...
For another feature race here this afternoon, this is the Eskimo Prince for the 3-year-olds, and not much in the betting between the New Zealand visitor in El Roca and also Dissident for Peter Moody, who has, of course, raced here in...
Stories will be tell heading towards the big Autumn Riches here in Sydney in the BMW Carnival. And also, the line is the New Zealander, number 4, El Roca.
Is easily the best into stride. He leads from El Roca, moving up on the outside to settle down second. Aussies Love Sports handy going through along the fence. And then Dissident back behind them, followed by Hooked, and settling down last is Romantic Touch. Big Touch at the rear. 500 out. And the leader is Aussies Love Sport. He went about a half a length clear from Pirandello. El Roca still about 2 lengths behind them and about to come to the centre of the track. Dissident still under riding. And then further back, Hooked and Romantic Touch. So Pirandello moving up to Aussies Love Sport. El Roca now being urged along to come up on the outside and looks a bit of a threat. And then Dissident under the whip. Pirandello's in front, but now El Roca's grabbed him. El Roca went straight to the lead. Dissident is running on late, then Pirandello and Hook, but it's El Roca clear. And he looks to have the prize safely in his keeping here, El Roca. Too good for Dissident. Romantic Touch ran on well for third. And then Pirandello hooked, and last in was Aussies Love Sports.
He's the real deal. Number 4, El Roca. Huey Bowman, sort of name, Caroline, has a big effect on Sydney racing, of course, because Chris Weller.
Red Stakes, El Roca.
Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes for the mares, and looking forward to a fantastic contest by some very smart Group 1 performers. Well, the favourite White Sage, she's not that yet. She's 280 to 270, but she is unbeaten. 5 from 5 stepping up to Group Company. Let's see.
Number 6, White Sage, $2.80 into $2.50.
The inside, she landed in front. Drafontaine was showing speed, and Steps in Time is now starting to roll forward on the outside. She's out in the centre of the track, but she now hits the lead. Streamer pins. So the leader at the 600 metres at the halfway mark, Steps in Time. Catkins is in second spot. It's left the fence and is now coming to the outside of Steps in Time. Then White Sage getting up near the inside, followed by Drafontaine. Streamer a little bit out sprinted when they quicket, and then Shani Rose. So Steps in Time in front with Catkins a length and a half White Sage has got to really lift here. She's still a couple of lengths behind them, and then Drafontaine steps in time in front. Catkins the grey on the outside is trying to get to it, and then 2 lengths to White Sage. Steps in time just in front. Catkins on the outside. Can she do it 3 years in a row? Steps in time. She's just in front. Catkins lunged. Catkins, I think, got there right on the post. I think Catkins by a nose steps in time. Third, White Sage. Then Shani Rose, Drafontaine, Streamer, and last in Pretty Pins.
She's a quality mare. This is very close. It looks like 3. Catkins on the outside. May have just nutted. Steps in time. Trying to make it 3 Breeders' Classics in a row. Catkins. Number 3's your winner, ladies and gentlemen. Number 3 will get it. Catkins. Hugh Bowman for Chris Waller. The grade 2 steps in time. And 6 White Sage. Forget about the price. She was good. She's still got to take that step to this grade, but she acquitted herself.
I'm sure she'll be listening in or watching.
Hills there at Rosehill, unfortunately, but a good day of racing on Saturday. Hugh Bowman was on board, and he's joining us on the line on Racing Retro this morning. Good morning, Hugh.
Word. Surprised me actually because trialled her twice and she was very lax in the trials, but with no blinkers on, she was a different horse. And look, Chris was very confident going into the race, and you know, tactically it was.
She more or less set herself up in the spring year with put the writing on the wall, and after resuming like that, you'd have to say she's laid claims to being one of the best mares in the country.
Well, you certainly have done the right way about it. You know, I suppose she certainly stood up and made herself known to everyone with a close second to Red Tracer in the Maya Classic. The form leading into that was very good. But
The Thermal Current line of Belfort now. Luke Nolan rides Thermal Current here, but has a break in the next.
Even here on track today, 170 into 165, a dominant favourite and the market mover for race 2.
It's repeating Luke Nolan.
Racing. Not listening to me, jumped okay with Line of Belfort down towards the inside. Cruden Babe again flying and goes straight to the lead with the blinkers on ahead of Thermal Current. And they're followed by Fast and Rocking, settling third on the outside, and Not Listening to Me fourth the fence. 3 lengths in front then to Consorting Line of Belfort, followed by Harare. This is the show, and Clairvaux last by the 800. Cruden Bay by about a length here. Thermal Current second, Not Listening to Me 2 lengths away third. A length further back on the outside is Fast and Rocking, being followed then by Niggled At the moment as Line of Belfort, and Consorting a further length and a half away, followed by This is the Show, 2 to Harare, and last of all is Clairvaux ridden along. So Cruden Bay at the 400, 3/4 to Thermal Current. Not Listening to Me's eased into the clear by James McDonald. He's within 2.5 of the leader, and then came Fast and Rocking, and Line of Belfort is boxing on into the straight now. And here comes the favourite. He's just ambling up on the outside of Thermal Current. Cruden Bay is beaten off on the rail, and Fast and Rocking is boxing on, but it's all Not Listening to Me. He's been let go in the final 150, and he strides away with great purpose and bolted in. So Not Listening to Me by 3 lengths, getting up for second, Consorting just in front of Thermal Current. Fast and Rocking battled away in fourth, and then Line of Belfort. Harare, followed by This is the Show. Cruden Bay knocked right up in the run home down on the inside, and at the end was Clairvaux.
They'll be cheering in Hong Kong, owned by a champion trainer in John Moore and trained by a champion in John Hawkes with his sons here in Wayne and Michael. Pretty plain work there for the heavily backed favourite. Not listening to me off the back of Thermal Current, who travelled beautifully, and in the end, into the sorting good style. He's a little star, this bloke.
So we pulled the right rein today, and he'll stay here for a week, 10 days now, and then we'll just decide whether we keep him here. But he'll probably go back to Sydney, but I'm not saying.
Well, after the race, basically called it a star. The punters got right onto this one, 220 into $1.60. Consorting was good in Thermal Current. I mean, they're good horses, but they're in a different league, different race.
We can really use the Red Anchor at Moonee Valley back in the spring as a benchmark comparison race to this, because we have the first 3 coming through that event. Not Listening to Me had the run on Thermal Current that day. Thermal Current beat him, got up on the inside after switching ground. Then they met again in the Coolmore. Consorting was also through that Red Anchor and was unlucky. Now, Thermal Current had been working well, and on their previous clashes, it was 1-1. Not Listening to Me in the Coolmore, Thermal Current through Moonee Valley. The rate of improvement that this horse has clearly made from that spring preparation is enormous. Thermal Current and Consorting seem to have held the level, and we can see that through their finish yesterday. This horse has gone on to, I think we all know, Group 1 standard.
It cost $270,000 for
second to Zoo Star back in the spring in a Group 1.
And he did it on his first preparation, as well. This horse had only had his first trial back on the last Tuesday. Here he is here in a very, very competitive race, and he toys with the opposition. He's a serious sprinter, this fellow. And look, he could well be the find of the autumn. I'm anticipating he could be as well. We've got him, and we've got Lankan Rupee. And
I think Lankan Rupee's been performing. Yeah, I think Lankan Rupee's been performing at a higher level. I'm not saying this horse won't go there, but he's been beating and running times. And I've got him rated above this horse at the moment, but that could change with one meeting.
Yeah.
His stables are now occupied by Peter Moody, and Peter has 5 runners in this race, the Polytrack Angus Armanasco Stakes.
And Miralargo jumps well towards the inside and heading it off in the early part of Spirits Dance, who runs to the lead with the Rickara. And also up there is Demands a line of 3, and Marianne Posy just off them in 4th spot on the pink colours. 9 lengths away from the leader. At the 600, a Rickara by 2 lengths. In second spot there is Spirits Dance, 2 lengths in front of Miralargo on the inside of Demands. 50 outside Marianne, about 5 lengths away from the leader, starting to stoke up, and then Metaphorical, followed by Bound for Earth, Patricia Dawn the rail, and Diamond Glow last. So a Rickara turns in front. Spirits Dance immediately races to the front. Marianne's 2 lengths away, starting to run on. Demands is trying to go with her. It's Spirits Dance at the 200 by 2 lengths. Marianne trying to reel her in. Spirits Dance out by a length and a half. Marianne having a job to get there. Spirits Dance a length in front. Oh, she just keeps winning. Spirits Dance by a length, Marianne. A length away, Metaphorical. And they were followed in 4th placing then by Bound for Earth, Diamond Glow. They're trailed then by Miralargo.
Way too easy, isn't it? Sometimes as punters, you ignore the bleeding obvious, and it bites you on the proverbial. Just race.
Just took her a little while to put it together. She got beat at Seymour one day.
Way Metaphorical.
100 metres. Good competitive field, evenly graded. The top rater in the race is a 72 rater. Market is deciding between Bring Something as Deliberate as favourite. At this stage, it's clearly Bring Something.
Won the jump down on the inside ahead of Justice for All, and Sawaro's up there in the early part. Now, Alphabet didn't jump as well as they wanted, and he's gone back to be second last as they settle into stride now. And Bring Something is in the first 5 or so as they're trying to sort out their places. And Calendar Lad picks up on the inside, leads with Miss Hissy going on and Accord. Bring Something's caught 3 and 4 wide as they're going up the hill there. He's in an awkward place. Beaten Villanova, about 700 left to go. And Miss Hissy in front of Nick Clear. Accord running second. Calendar Lad on the inside of Bring Something. 2 lengths in front of Deliberate. Followed by Counter Snip and Safaro starting to make ground. And Alphabet's gone around him quickly and is starting to run on quite strongly. Towards the turn at the 400 metres now. And moving up, Accord went to the lead narrowly, but here come the runs. Bring Something, Deliberate, and Alphabet out wide on the course. Calendar Lad trying to work clear. 300 metres left to go, and Alphabet raced up with Deliberate. Bring Something trying to go with these. 150 to go. It's Alphabet. He's been on a long run just in front. Here comes Villanova starting to storm down the outside. Alphabet, Villanova, and Counter Snip's got up on the inside, but Villanova won it by a length. Counter Snip and Alphabet third. Then My Son Harry might have got fourth. There's a lineup of them there, including Deliberate, Bring Something, and down on the inside, Calendar Lad. Clear of Saguaro and...
With him, you got your prize today. It's been a long time coming. His first win in Australia, Villanova. It was a messy race from last year. Villanova's swoops to beat Countersnip, who was more patient today for the team with captained by Chris Waller.
Absolutely. $11 into 10 late. Countersnip.
Oh, only a couple of kilos up.
Favourite, Rubik. Here's the market for the Peter Young Stakes. Fioronte, the Melbourne Cup winner of November, just gone, and Green Moon from the year before. They're going around here. He looks tremendous, Fioronte, Shane, and the key to looking at him right now is seeing those blinkers on him. We've seen plenty of exhibition gallops and track works without them, and he's done more than enough. He's got plenty of condition on him, but he looks in great health, doesn't he?
He does indeed now.
Brian with a navy cap jumped well on the inside, and so did Pakal in the early part. And let's see, Fiorenté has 2 behind him as they settle into stride, and it's Star Rolling who goes on ahead of Pakal and Murian. Green Moon up there on the outside and about fourth in company with God Has Spoken, and they're 2 lengths clear. Bass Straight next down on the inside, Fiorente the middle, and Let's Make a Deal out 3 wide and 4. Star Rolling just over a length in front. Green Moon running second as they go to the railway side. Picard nicely placed. He's third over on the outside of Miriam, a length and a half in front of God Has Spoken, Bass Straight. One further back is Fiorente at the 800. Is about 7 off the leader. And behind him is Foreteller and Let's Make a Deal. Star Rolling leads down the side. 2 in front of Green Moon. A length and a half Picard outside of Miriam. Being followed then by God Has Spoken, Bass Straight. Fiorente is next on the outside. Still about 6 or 7 away. Followed by Foreteller and Let's Make a Deal. Star Rolling before the turn. He leads by a length to Green Moon, who's come off his heels and is sold along by Williams. 2 in front of Picard. Here's Fiorente starting to wind up with his run. He's got 5 to make up as they cornered. Star Rolling into the straight, led by 2 lengths now to Green Moon. Fiorente struggling next on the outside. Back behind those is Picard. Star Rolling, he's getting a little tired. Green Moon's coming at him. Now Fiorente starting to lift on the outside. Still Star Rolling just in front. Fiorente's going to lunge with Murian getting up on the inside, but Fiorente, he's won it by a head. A big win from Murian second, Star Rolling third, and then Picard and Foreteller. Green Moon next over the line. He's followed further back by Bass Straight and Let's Make a Deal, and God Has Spoken at the end.
Well, too much class. Absolutely brilliant. Too much class here, Fiorente. I know Greg Corley might have looked to be struggling there, but, you know, Oliver knows him and he just wants to find the line, this horse. And as we said to Sam pre-race, he's well above himself in condition here. If he wins today, what a campaign he's in for. He's won today and he's won decisively. Moran was fantastic running second here, but he's a star, this horse. It's what racing needs, a Melbourne Cup winner to come back in that sort of fashion.
When they've won a really major race, to be able to come back so well, you know, and he only won the race really in the last 75 metres, but the way he just strode out and got into his rhythm, there's plenty more of him to come, so all your viewers should be watching.
He's an exciting horse and Australian racing needs him, and perhaps world racing awaits him going.
Well, they might. They just might. He's a beautiful horse, and they don't often win first up over 1800 against a class field.
It's a lot more improvement. A Melbourne Cup hero come back and set the track alight again.
It is great, Bruce. Yeah, he's a star of the turf and great horse to ride. He's, you know, what you dream of riding, just does everything right for you. And he's got a great will to win. He pins those ears back and doesn't want to let anything beat him.
The inside, but Fiorente, he's won it by...
Well, as good as a few were, including the Williams pair, Moran and, of course, Green Moon, who both go to the Australian Cup now. They were tremendous. Fiorente Shark, given what we saw in the yard. I mean, I know he's been in work for seemingly since the Melbourne Cup, but he just paraded big yesterday, didn't he?
Well, he walked past me. He had a rounder backside than Beyonce, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But for a horse that was, you know, a near even money favourite for a Group 2 race, you would have liked to see a bit more muscle definition. It didn't worry at all, though. Halfway through the race, he thought, well, if he's going to win this, it's not going to be by much. And that proved to be the scenario. What I loved about him, though, as he's got to the front, he's seen Moraine coming up on his inside and really flatten that head and wanted that win. That's what we've seen from him in the past. In the Dardo Tangier-Nam, same story, narrow win, but he really wants it. Geez, he's a serious beast and he's in for a massive campaign.
I think your point, Rich, is tremendous.
Overly taxing him, so yeah, he's an exciting horse. He's a stayer who's got a turn of foot, and that is a great asset.
The main stakes, the Old St George Stakes, Fiorente, he's got class. He showed it yesterday, winning first up over 1,800 metres, Ron.
Yeah, look, he's a star, isn't he? He's an absolute superstar. Look, resuming after a Melbourne Cup's not easy, and he did it. His desire to win is still there. He's obviously going to be a deserved short price favourite for the Australian Cup. Then they'll probably make a plan for the championships. You know, he's used to having limited preparations. Can he get through a 4 or 5 run preparation? Well, we're about to find out probably. But the way he just stalked and moved up here, even though he was under pressure, you knew he was always going to sort of wear at him late here.
Yeah, he needed every bit of the 1,800 metres to get to the line in front, which is understandable coming off a Melbourne Cup preparation and first up. And he can thank that there was some pretty decent pace in the race, so for that race, and I think that helped him. Well, if it had been slower, he might not have got there from where he was. But look, he can only do what he's asked to do, and I love the way the horse stretches out and has a crack at the line. He's a real trier, and that's going to win him a lot of races. And I think he's going to end up Horse of the Year. That's my early tip, and I think he deserves it at the moment.
Probably
timed right up. People are questioning on Twitter already, why is Craig Williams not riding Green Moon? I think that tells us that Seamus Award, who'll run next week in the Guineas, is likely to do the 7-day backup into the Australian Cup. And that's why young Chad Schofield has been able to snare this ride on Green Moon. It would have been a great...
There's 3 Group 1s to come. And it kicks off here with the Cathay Pacific Group 1 Futurity Stakes. Damien Oliver rides the favourite in Bull Point. He's on 98 career wins, and he's got his lucky charm here today. Mum Pat is over to cheer on Ollie. He tries to chase down 2 more and make it the century.
Market mover here and favourite is number 9 Bull Point. Repeating, market mover and favourite number 9 Bull Point. Head of Moment of Change. There's been some specking late
4 years back. Last to move in. Clear for action on the outside, and the Futurity field is locked in and ready to go. Group 1, first of 3 today. Racing in the Futurity. Oh, Sartorius missed it by 2 lengths, straight out the back. Sizzling began well, and now Moment of Change comes over. He's up there going for the lead in the early part ahead of Bull Point, and Polanski showing plenty of speed, moved around them and got into second placing now. They're followed by Pinwheel, settling down 4th along the inside. A length further back came Ladari. He's out 3 wide. Sizzling in between horses, Sartorius the rail, and then Clear for Action, and back last of all 2 lengths away was Smokin' Joey. To the railway side, Moment of Change led by more than 2 lengths. Polanski 2 lengths away. Third is Bull Point. On the rails is Pinwheel, being followed by Sizzling. 1 Sartorius. A length further back is Ladari. Clear for Action, and Smokin' Joey at the end. About 9 lengths covered them. And out in front here, Moment of Change at the 600 metres. Polanski a length and a half away second. Bull Point about to make his run. He's going up on the outside, followed by Pinwheel, Sizzling, Sartorius, and then Ladari. Clear for Action. And last coming around the turn is still Smokin' Joey, but into the straight they race now, and Moment of Change by 2 lengths. Bull Point giving chase. Pinwheel stays on, and the rest were headed by Sizzling. Moment of Change below the 200. He's still out more than 2. Bull Point is battling away with Sartorius running home well, and Pinwheel is next. Moment of Change 100 to go by 2 lengths to Pinwheel, and Sartorius coming home well. Moment of Change hanging on, and too good. Moment of Change beats Sartorius. A big run second. Pinwheel will get third. Bull Point every chance. 4th. Followed then by Clear for Action and Sizzling. A break to Ladari. Followed in by Smokin' Joey, and that's disappointing. Polanski's knocked up, and he's a distant last.
More news on him shortly, but what a spectacular win here by Moment of Change, who maintains it unbeaten. A 4 for 4 at 1400 metres here at Caulfield. All at Group 1 level. Brilliant today. Luke got it absolutely right. Gee, the second horse should have won. Sartorius. Gee whiz. Walked out of the start. We'll have a look at that shortly.
Exactly. He's in great. He's in great shape. He's he's in peak form. And obviously this track, the way this track races, everyone says it's a front runner's track. Well, of course it is. It's a triangle. It suits these types of horses. He goes strong enough that horses have got to chase him from a long way out. Like Bull Point's probably a Group 1 3-year-old, but he's chasing him from the 700. They can't close when you're chasing that far. And, just full credit to Rob Slade and his team. He's, we've all copped a few kicks along the way, but we're going all right.
No, that's racing, mate. That's racing.
Cheers, Bruce.
Peter Moody. Yeah, we'll check on that. About 700 wins for Moody and Nolan. Staggering. I think he's ridden about 1,000 winners.
He hasn't been known for probably being a model of consistency, albeit he's early in his career he was, but through 10 starts sort of absence from the winners circle, he's put 2 very, very encouraging wins together, obviously on his home track at home.
Sartorius, a big run.
Well, it's 4 for 4 there at Caulfield at the 1400. Another Group 1 for Moment of Change. What a beauty he's been for Connections, who only had to pay 50,000 for him, barely a moment in Perth. He was good. Sartorius was outstanding. Should have won, but they don't play on what should have happened. And of course, the story on Pinwheel will have a bit more on that later. Thought first to be attendance a bit more serious than that, but honest to the winner because he makes his own luck.
Oh, he's the horse that you dream about owning, isn't he? Moment of Change. You know exactly what you're going to get. He's tough. He's so classy. And the thing that punters love about him is he just gets out and sets the speed. You're going to get a genuine tempo with Moment of Change, which gives every other horse a chance to run him down if they're good enough. But when you're as good as he is, they really are good enough. It was a fantastic judged ride again, I thought, from Luke Nolan. Just got the tempo so right. Got that kick out of the horse on the corner like we've seen from him in the Rupert Clark, like we saw from him in the Ore. And horses like Bull Point, as promising as they are, just not at that level yet. They're just not polished enough to go and run down a horse like this.
They are the...
Thought he was terrific. Bull Point, and it's sad to see Polanski. I believe his racing career's over, so that's unfortunate for Robbie Lang and all the owners of Polanski, but I doubt we'll see him again. But the winner, honest as the day is long, and the Sartorius, I'm still trying to get over how good it went.
Yeah, it went terrific, didn't it? I suppose the question mark now is with Bull Point, does he back up in the Guineas next week, and how he'll perform? Or will
From the winner, he's 4 for 4 at the track and distance now. I think he was beautifully presented by Peter Moody into this race. He's set up nicely, well rated in front by Luke. He doesn't try and slow it, take the speed out of him. He lets him roll, and it pays dividends. I'd like to see Bull Point ridden more conservatively myself. His best run was when he come from last in a Golden Rose. So I'm not begrudging him on this performance because he was chasing a proven Group 1 performance.
Flushed out early,
Yeah.
Damien. Damien was sitting there a couple of lengths off Moment of Change, and I think coming to about the 500-metre mark, he thought, I just can't let this horse Moment of Change roll along because he's too hard to stop.
Chasing some hard heads too.
Exactly. So he flushed him out early, and he was found a little wanting over the last bit.
Sartorius was unbelievable.
That was... If you train Sartorius, I'll ask Peter this, if you train Sartorius, how happy would you be this morning?
Oh, it was an enormous effort. Like, he was slow out. He really was out of play in the first 200 metres, but to see him finish as well as he did, his sex horse would have been outstanding.
Yeah. He's some stayer.
No doubt about that. He is a stayer, Richard. You know, he competed in the Queen Elizabeth, the Sandown Cup, going back to the spring. He missed earlier on in the when we had that real hot day. Jamie Edwards and Bruce Elkington decided they didn't want to run him on a real hot day. The horse just doesn't like it. That changed the Australian Cup. He won't go there. He goes to the Blamey, but they were elated with that
contest for the 2-year-olds, and what a great lineup we have this year, headed by a terrific colt in Rubik and a brilliant filly in Earthquake. The market's telling us it's turned right around big time here. It's been all Earthquake, and Rubik's out to 380. Brilliant. Won't get too close to him.
No, yeah, he was very frisky.
Peak time, I would think, for Mounting Yard here today, and we know her ability. She's unbeaten. It's up to Damien Brown now to make sure she transforms that ability into a Blue Diamond win.
Yeah, well, just like last year, she's been dominant in both appearances.
Set off. Earthquake jumped well. Boomwah got away quickly. Rubik out fast too, and Mojave got away fast, and so did Javali down near the inside. Malaguira. No speed at all. Chivalry has gone back to last as they settle into stride. And the Yellies up there driving through on the inside with Rubik and Boomwah. They're the leaders settling into stride. Just ahead of Javali getting up on the inside, and Earthquake's got over on the outside of the stablemate Mojave. Followed by Nostradamus and then Top Dolly, Cornrow, Malaguira the rail. A length further back in the field then is Francesco. Zululand, followed then by Golconda. Stratum Stars well back from Piacenza, and Chivalry last of all. Up to the home turn they race now, and it's Nielli leading narrowly. On the outside is Rubik, followed by Boomwah under pressure, and then came Javali waiting on a run right behind them. Followed by Mojave, and Earthquake comes to the outside, and then came Nostradamus. Rubik shot to the front early in the straight. Javali's coming after him from Boomwah. Here comes Earthquake. She's starting to storm home. It's Rubik at the 150, grabbed in a stride by Earthquake. It's in the Javali's in the middle, but it's Earthquake who's bounded away now. Earthquake racing away to win the diamond. Scored by 2 lengths, Javali. Cornrow's got up for third, and Rubik 4. Followed by Boomwah, Nostradamus, Chivalry flashing home. Zululand followed by Mojave, and then came Malaguira. Behind those to finish was Piacenza, Stratum Star. A break further back in the field to Golconda, being trailed then by Nayeli and Francesco together. And a distant last is Top Dolly.
Well, a brilliant result here for Daly, and a spectacular emergence here of a star filly in Earthquake. Big Price's pair on the Quinella. He'll be pleased, but Daly with this filly who remains unbeaten. Damien Brown getting 3 wide with cover made a huge difference. First to crack was Rubik, shot clear top of the straight.
Damien got into a good spot. She travelled really well. She did the same thing again. She floated, but once she balanced up, she pricked her ears and went to them. I said, oh my God, you know, what's in the tank here? But that was special.
Well, you got something pretty hand. You got to have a crack at the slipper, don't you?
Oh, Bruce, that's only a second start, you know. That was always the plan. I didn't tell anyone what I was thinking about, but that's always been the plan. But look, she's got to pull up well. She comes first, but if she pulls up well, she's had the perfect preparation for a Golden Slipper.
Well performance. We haven't been. There isn't a racing team for Dolly anywhere in the world performing like this team here, and the Snowdens are a huge part of that. So it'd be sad to see them going, but we'll love competing against them.
Well done, Henry. Well done.
Okay.
Exceptional, Clarky. You know, to come in like that and on the corner, I give a couple of slaps, and she picked it up in 2 strides. And the last film, she's just loafed and doing half pace, you know. And be interesting to see when she fully gets tested just how good she goes. But you know, she's pretty smart, Rod.
Which is great today. I mean, are you sort of...
Cornrow's got up for third and Rubik fourth.
Well, Darley's won it with a great colt, and Seapoy now had a brilliant filly in Earthquake, 3 for 3, only third start into a Blue Diamond Stakes. And around the favourite, Punters rallied. 1987 seems fast overall, but they're home in 35.68. There doesn't look to be much pressure in the race, but there's a sectionals, man, last furlong 12.28 as you're throttling down. Paul, I mean, we saw Christian Reith day one ride it and declare it the best horse in the world, known to man at a certain time, but she's obviously something special.
She certainly is. She really works like a really good horse. She works similarly to how sort of Seapoy used to work, but once we get to the races with her, she goes up another level, and that's what we're seeing, you know, on game day with her.
It was billed as probably the best diamond we've seen in recent times, certainly in the last decade. I would have thought in sheer depth. She absolutely flogged them. Were you surprised at all by just the ease of the win?
I was really taken by the prelude win because to me she had that much improvements to win her, and the way she dominated that race and the way she won, I thought, geez, we're still on track here. And then she just worked so well during the week. Too well probably for us because she just worked enormous, and to that fact that we didn't work her anymore during the week, we just laid off her. We gave her the rest of the week off, basically just trot and cantered, went off the pony a couple of times, and
she had a lovely run in behind the leaders. Pulled out and thought I was a chance at the top of the straight, but got beaten by a top class filly.
Yeah, nice horse. Well, I travelled really strongly throughout, probably over-travelled a fraction. Got to the corner and I didn't really have much to give with. Look, he probably did a good job running to where he did, sort of fourth, wasn't beaten far, but he's probably come to the end of it.
You'd like to see him with a sit, obviously, wouldn't you?
Yeah, ideally.
Makes Earthquake dominant win. She keeps that unbeaten record intact. She's now won 3 out of 3. And her trainer, Peter Snowden, is joining us on Racing Retro this morning.
And she's 3 starts old. She's done no racing at all. But what she's doing, she just does it. She races beyond her years. She's got the ability to jump, put us off there, switch off completely, idle down, and just wait until you want her to go. And then just acceleration is just brilliant. It's just very, very quick. And 2-year-olds this young don't race like that. You know, it takes her a while to learn how to race and learn how to go through the gears and learn to do things that she knows instantly.
Pete, can
a young horse do that as easy as what she did.
This is a really impressive bit when she goes past Rubik and others there.
Yeah,
just in 2 strides she put paid to them.
It's class, and you don't train that into them. They just got to have that as a natural ability, and that's what she does have.
And she had a little stargaze to the line, a little pricked her ears and looked around, and probably could have won by further.
Yeah, well, for me that's a good thing too, because she has no gut busting runs. The 2 runs she has had, for me, I think they're taking her forward, and I firmly don't believe she was at her best yesterday, and I don't want to sound arrogant at all, but I just know on the horse how she worked, how she's progressed from one run to the other. She had an easy trial. Her win 2 weeks ago was quite soft, and she made that look soft yesterday.
Peter, just the improvement you took.
Probably tomorrow. We'll give her a good 4 or 5 days, probably a week there in the paddock, and just gauge her. But looking at her this morning, Paul said she hasn't tightened at all. That's a good sign for me. It hasn't taken nothing out of her. Time-wise, it's perfect. For me, she's had 2 runs just to ready her. A bit of a break now, and we've got 6 weeks to get her ready. It can be done, and it's the filly that's certainly got the talent to do it. But
to Rubik, what did you think of Rubik?
Look, I don't think there was any excuses. A few people critical saying he went too hard, but I don't think so, because the horses around him stuck on this time. Like Jabali was third defence and stuck on, and Boomoir was 3 deep outside them, and his run was enormous running fifth. So, look, maybe he is a sprinter, a 1,100-metre horse, or maybe he did have that gut buster in the prelude leading up to the race. Only time will tell that. He's still an exciting colt as far as I'm concerned, but she stood alone, aren't they?
I can't add much more to that other than to say I've always been a little suspicious that Rubik was perhaps a 1,000-metre horse, or get to 1,100 in that sort of company. And I think you look at the 100-metre mark, he was out of gas. Now, you might be right, Ron, but
the punters rallied through the morning and through the day, and they got it right with Earthquake, the Exceed and Excel homebred for Darley. Mick Price doing a great job with his second and third, and he's happy with them. There's your market for the Oakley Plate. Mick here with Lankan Rupee up against Darley again with Noidart. Tremendous sprint coming up. So competitive. Looking forward to it.
So we just want to maybe not go too hard on him. And
he's not going to be over scientific, though. I mean, he's a natural. He's a real runner, and he looks to be in absolute peak form.
Yeah, I know, but I just think it's an Oakley Plate where there's a couple of really nice horses that are going to...
Lankan Rupee aiming to give Craig Newitt his second when he scored on Schnitzel back in 2006. He's really... Oakley Plate, they're off. Noidart just a little bit slow. Lankan Rupee got away very fast, and so did Gregors. And away flying Kurashio out wide goes to the lead in the early part. Ahead now of Menage, First Command and Vatican. Flambeur's just off them fifth, and then Lankan Rupee, Gregors. Followed by Dystopia getting through near the inside. Just behind these horses, Happy Galaxy. They're being followed by Sharmal Win, General Truce, Spirit of Boom, Caracatus and Iconic. Noidart's a good way back in the field. Bell Sprinter third last, followed by Richie's Vibe and Magnus Rain. Running to the home turn now, and it's Menage on the inside, and Kurashio leading by a length and a half to Vatican First Command. They're being followed by Lankan Rupee, Gregors and Flambeur's the widest, followed by Dystopia. Around the turn, and Kurashio and Menage by 2 or 3 lengths. On now, Lankan Rupee, Vatican followed by Gregors, and back behind them, Sharmal Winters darting up on the inside. It's Menage, but Lankan Rupee at the 100 and sprinted away. Lankan Rupee 2-3 lengths in front. Gregors running on with Spirit of Boom, but Lankan Rupee scored in the plate by a length and a half. Second, Spirit of Boom, and flying home. Noidart might grab third ahead of Gregors, followed then by Flambeur's Sharmal Wind, and just off them was Dystopia, Caracatus, Bell Sprinter, and they're followed then by Richie's Vibe, Vatican, General Truce, Iconic. Dropping out of it was Kurashio and also Happy Galaxy, and last to finish was First Command.
Absolutely brilliant here, Lankan Rupee, and into a Group 1 winner's stall, being gelded, only been beaten once since. Excuses for that failure. Great ride by Froggy. As we heard from Mick pre-race, he didn't want to be the bunny. Well, he wasn't. He just pulled his Lankan Rupee.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it, Bruce? We just changed riding a little bit for 18 runners, and I just thought he got it absolutely perfect. It was... you can get into a lot of trouble in those sort of races, but good pace in front of him, and he's a good horse. He's a good horse and deserves his Group 1.
How hard was it?
But that was fantastic. Thanks, Bruce.
Good on you, Mick.
Thanks, mate.
Mick Price, Lankan Rupee, victorious here in the Blue Diamond.
Well, there's a good ride they'll be queuing up for, Lankan Rupee. He's only been beaten once since he's been gelded, and there were plenty of excuses that night at the Valley. He's run 1:2.72 for the 1100.
He played by a length and a half. Second, Spirit of...
Well, it's 5 out of 6 since being gelded. The other time he had the thump. So he's a sprinting star, and it's all because he's been gelded. And Froggy, you rode him, not totally differently yesterday. You rode him to meet the match of the race, so to speak, didn't you? You didn't go out there all guns blazing.
No, not at all, Bruce. We had a plan before the race to just try and be a couple of lengths back off the speed. And once I got over his neck and counted him off the gates, he just tightened right up underneath me, and I knew he was right on his game. And I just thought going to the barriers, I just thought I had flashbacks of summer already in the Blue Diamond. I just thought I just got to keep him out of trouble, and he'll get the job done.
There's been a massive amount of confidence about this.
The news, Froggy, even as good as Lankan Rupee was yesterday, you think Summer already can beat him? I mean, it's a handicap race, of course. You're going to have moment of change there, and you're going to have Sham Express top of the weights, a good new market, and obviously Paul telling us now Noidart may go there, but you're happy where you're sitting.
Yeah, absolutely, Bruce. I think if we end up with a dry track, I think the 1200 suits her, and I think if she turns up sound on the day, she'll be winning.
Thank you. There's a bit more news. There's the new market done for you as well. We've got the Australian Cup shortly.
Easy to get into the placings. He finished third in that race. What a great campaign he's had. He's really turned things around, hasn't he?
Says a lot for gelding, Matt, doesn't it? Because this horse has turned his form around completely. His run was outstanding yesterday. He began a little bit tardy, and that just put him on the back foot. And we wanted to sort of be midfield, be on the back of this pace, which we thought would be pretty hot. James, because he was back, he allowed him to balance up, and he was just sort of trying to get him to the outside to get him an uninterrupted run. But it took him a while to get there, and the field just got away from him again. But his closing sections were fantastic, and meeting this class of sprinter and to see him finish as well as he did, I think it makes him very competitive in the future.
He's having a great prep, but I think we've all got to be a little bit in awe of Lincoln Rupee. He's having the same one. He was gelded as well, and there's two of them that have been gelded and completely turned their form around, and he's just
he's got to be one of the best sprinters in Australia, hasn't
he's
he?
the best sprinter in Australia at the moment, right
Yeah,
now.
I think we've got a couple. This not listening to me looks and you forget about Zoostar.
Yeah, but they've got to do it at that level.
Hold up a bit. Hold up a bit. Well, there is life after Black Caviar though, because we've got a heap of them lining up for the throne, haven't we?
Starting to. We didn't 2 weeks ago. We had nothing, and now they're all starting to come along.
Favourite, she's been a wonderful filly as a 2 and 3 year old. $2.25 in from $2.35 and favourite. Let's head to
the concerns. The rail's out 7 metres. Nothing's really come from well back. She pinged out in the trials. Sweet Idea, $3.80 into $3.60. Real Surreal, $7.
They're off. And she jumped okay, Champagne Kath. Average was away well, so was Sweet Idea on the outside, and Thumper's going up near the inside, so not a lot separating this leading trio. It's Champagne Kath in the middle. It'll get to the lead here and lead from Sweet Idea and Average, followed by Guelph, who's coming up on the outside, and she'll settle down fourth, but she's out a little bit wide. Real Surreal going up underneath her, and then Thump back on the rail. A half to Estonian Princess, and then came Gypsy Diamond, Arabian Gold, Zanbar, and another Prayers at the tail of the field. So Guelph's out 3 wide facing the breeze. It's Champagne Kath in front, leads from Sweet Idea. Then Average over on the rail, Real Surreal the centre. Guelph running 5th out deep, and then Estonian Princess, followed by Thump. Arabian Gold was next, and then Gypsy Diamond. It's Champagne Kath in front from Sweet Idea. Bowman's hard at work on Guelph. She's still a length and a half away, and she's only battling for the moment. Then Real Surreal. Gypsy Diamond's coming down the outside. Sweet Idea took the lead from Champagne Kath, and then Real Surreal. Gypsy Diamond is still rocketing home, but Sweet Idea's kicked away, and Sweet Idea beats Gypsy Diamond. Third's a photo. Champagne Kath, Real Surreal, and Arabian Gold. Then Zambar, Guelph. Well, she was wide, but she was meek up the straight, followed further back by Thump, and then Average, another Priya, and last in Estonian Princess.
Number 2, Sweet Idea, the filly from the Gay Waterhouse stable. 10 starts, 5 wins. She wins. The Light Fingers, the Red Leaf Chickens, Light Fingers, 6 Gypsy Diamond, prominent back on the insides, number 10, Champagne Kath, 109.09, and the last 634.38.
Yeah, interim dividends.
Third's a photo.
Unbeaten this campaign. Good filly overall. Good 2-year-old. Come back as a strong 3-year-old here. And one Mark Newton, the trainer, eh? There's a bit of news we didn't know. I think you'll find it might have been Gay. It was Mark poked it on TV afterwards here. But I suppose the story was, as much as how good she's going, is what happened or what went wrong with Guelph. And we heard an explanation from Paul Snowden earlier, Rich.
Yeah, they weren't exactly tickled pink with Huey's ride on the galloper, Guelph. I thought she was about to get into a spot one off, and Corey Brown come off the back of Thump and then come one off the fence from inside on Real Surreal and then push Huey back, Huey out 3 deep. But yeah, look, I still would have loved to have seen her let down a little bit more. Perhaps she was just out of her comfort zone. She wants to chase. Geez, this winner's been good. I remember when Jimmy Cassidy, I think he won on a couple of weeks before the Slipper, and then ran 3rd in the Golden Slipper. Ran a good horse right through. Race fitness too, with a couple of runs in the Magic Millions. A little break since then, but it's been certainly up and running.
Yeah, I think the Gypsy Diamond and Zambar are interesting horses here heading towards the Oaks. We've got a good crop of 3-year-old fillies to solicit in Melbourne. Of course, we saw them all clash in the Oaks in Melbourne, but I think Gypsy Diamond's come back a lot better. I thought she tried a lot better this preparation.
For Guelph on Saturday?
Yes, she definitely was. She's an amazing filly. She hasn't got the credit that she deserves. She hasn't won a Group 1, but her turn won't be far off. She just puts herself in races and form's a bit distorted because she's one of these Magic Millions horses that, beats up bad horses. Yeah. I'm not saying bad horses. That's the wrong thing to say, but she doesn't beat the cream of the crop, and she did it yesterday. When she's eyeballed this filly, she can pull out some guts and determination like no other horse. She's an absolute ripper. Look I'm a little critical of Blake Shin on Zanbar here, the Oaks filly. Look, she's unfancied. She's 50-1 here, so not many people backed her, but you don't use these. These are races, not barrier trials, and I'm convinced he treated this like a barrier trial on Zanbar. Her run was enormous without exerting too much pressure, I must say, and I'm sure he'll be reminded of that as well.
I'm sure. And there's Guelph just with the second bunch there. I didn't think that the run, a lot of people are Potter. I thought
given what she was exposed to, and maybe there was some improvement. If there was any improvement in Guelph, given that run, she had to blow up in the straight. She had to.
She's disappointing if you backed her, but she's too good a filly to sack on that. She's a really good filly.
The feature race. This is the Schweppes Apollo Stakes, and I can tell you the mare in appearance. She is the favourite here. She's $2.70 ahead of Boban, $3. All right.
Equal favourites, 1 Boban and number 10 Appearance. And the market mover, number 1 Boban is the TVN market mover here, the Group 2 Apollo Stakes. 10.
Much Do You Love Me? Alma's Fury going up on the outside, so not much separating that leading three. But How Much Do You Love Me will take the lead from Alma's Fury, and then back in third spot, Rain Drum, followed by Speediness, and then came Tremec over on the inside. Appearance was next. Boban ends up second last. So ridden, Boban's taking off from the back of the field, but he's out 4 wide. Appearance is just inside in, and Moriarty last of all. They're jamming right up here. They haven't gone all that quickly, and How Much Do You Love Me led with 500 to go. A length on Alma's Fury, followed by Speediness, and then in behind them, Tremec, followed by Rain Drum. Boban was next. Appearance will follow it into the straight, and Moriarty on the inside. As they come up the rise now, and Speediness up the centre is moving out after How Much Do You Love Me, followed by Boban. Appearance is now starting to run on with Rain Drum as they get to the 200. Speediness collared by Appearance. She's coming quickly down the centre of the track, and she takes the lead. Appearance. She has sprinted away. She's a length and a half in front. She is racing in great form at the moment. Goes on to beat Speediness. A blanket finish for the Miners. Moriarty, Boban. How Much Do You Love Me was up there. Rain Drum, Alma's Fury, and Tremec's at the back of the field.
Number 10 Appearance wins the feature. She's back in great order. She won the Expressway, now the Apollo, on towards the Chelmsford. Speediness was terrific, up closer to the speed. 7. I know it's no consolation, but 121.97, 35.26, 35.26. 1.5 by a short neck, 10-4.
A blanket finish.
What a beauty. What more do you need to say about her? Guy Walter, of course, handles her, has done so throughout the career. And it's a strangely run race, but I mean, the outcome, you know, you could argue could be different to some extent, but the margin at the end there, Rich, well, she's a real star.
She's flying. And we made a good point yesterday, but also Guy Walter made the point about Appearance, his preparation. She was more forward at her first up run, and therefore it didn't take as much out of it like it can when you're not ready. And she performed second up. Speediness was terrific. They didn't go hard, and she had the best turn of foot. I thought Moriarty was just outstanding. I think How Much Do You Love Me is a far better horse when it's rolling, and like rolling at a real good clip. Rain Drum was passable. And now the interesting run is Boban. A lot of people were very, very critical on track yesterday of Nash's ride. Maybe, and I think Nash said he doesn't get on with the horse, but you know, you got to stay back in behind him, whether he's pulling or not, and he explodes. I could see what Nash was trying to do, but it didn't look pretty.
It was a funny run race. They seemed to go very quick early, and then down the side they slowed right up, and then he started to pull his way up, and he just got left out there a long way from home. But he isn't just zipping like he did last time in, is he, Richard? I know he's wide for a lot of the race, but he just doesn't seem to have that acceleration. Maybe Lynn's got the key to him to ride him a bit colder. But he wasn't great first up and second up. Well,
I thought he was better yesterday for the simple fact.
Group 2 Apollo Stakes Appearance, a 3-time Group 1 winner, and she's come back and won the Expressway, and now she's won the Apollo. She's come back in terrific order.
Well, the dominance in her 2 wins back, she's an outstanding mare, and you just have to trust your eye sometime, and it'll take a very good horse to beat her in anything she can test, because she's beating up Wait for Age fields here. Wasn't easy to come from the back yesterday. She did it. She did it with style. And like I say, Doncaster, those Wait for Age fillies and mares races under a mile, they're all going to suit her.
They're all in play, aren't they?
They're all in play.
Yeah. I have to say about her, she had the great first up record, and so it's no surprise she wins first up, but she never won second up.
No.
I wonder if that's just a tweaking of the way Guy is approaching training in general. His horses have always been horses that improve as they get into their preparation, but they seem to be going earlier in their prep, and all great trainers, you know, learn as they're going along. They all tell you they learn every day, and maybe he's changed a few things, but this was devastating right here. She has produced that run again.
Yeah, incredible. And the way, talking to Guy Walter, he says the reason that she's going so well second, he expected her to go well second up. He said, I had a fitter first up this time.
Yeah.
I've had an underdone first up in previous preparations.
He's really off to the Doncaster is probably the way they're going. love the 5-week suspension this week coming up. But how do you think he's going, Richard and Ron Boban, given where and the extra ground that he had to cover yesterday?
I don't think he's going as well as last preparation. I think that's obvious. I don't know. I wasn't worried after his first run, but after that run, I think unless they know they're dealing with some issue with him that they're trying to, manage him through, then I'd be looking for something. I'd be saying, is there something not right about him? Because he just didn't seem to. It's not as fluent as he was last preparation.
I always said on that slow 7 for the first of the feature races. This is the Millie Fox for the mares and a Group 2 race here as the first of our features. Of course, Red Tracer, she's won it the last 2 years. She's a clear-cut favourite, $1.60 into $1.50. $5.
They jumped as one. Lucky Largo went out the back just after the start. Longport was hurried along the fence to take the lead away from a Time for Julia. Red Tracer hopped out nicely. Lind up on the back. The leader moving up a little bit closer at Time for Julia, only about a half to a long neck away. Red Tracer's poised behind them. Lucky Largo over on the fence from Driefontein. And Royal Descent now starting to wedge up around the outside. At the 500-metre mark, at Longport about to be challenged by a Time for Julia. Red Tracer still stalking them. Lucky Largo stayed on the fence. And then Driefontein followed by Royal Descent as they draw to the 300-metre mark. A Time for Julia sprinted to the front. Red Tracer's poised behind it. Coming after it now. Can she make it 3 years in a row? She went to the front now, Red Tracer. She showed a dazzling turn of foot and raced away from a Time for Julia and Lucky Largo. And here's 3 years in succession for Red Tracer. Beats a Time for Julia. Lucky Largo got third, then Royal Descent, followed by Driefontein, and last in was Longport.
She's a star. She's a star of the Australian racing scene. Number 1, Red Tracer, the dual Group 1 winner, and that was nothing more than an exhibition gallop. $1.20 for number 1, Red Tracer, $2.70 for a Time for Julia.
She's the star, Richard, isn't she, Red Tracer? I know the wet's a tick, but she's class. She's Group 1. And well done to Jeff and Mary Grimish there with this horse. And Time for Julia was good. It's going to come back and go to Adelaide for the sporting bet over there, but you could put Red Tracer in anything and she'd be right there.
No doubt. She was going to win a long way from home. She was absolutely bolting. Chris Waller was really concerned before the race because she was not down to her weight that she'd been in the previous campaigns first up. I think just she's an older man. She's just a little bit more rounded, but the win was effortless. She was always going to improve, and Chris has got a long campaign ahead of her. She's going to be patient. There's a nice mares race in France in July that, the ultimate goal is to get there, and whether she'd win that or not, it's irrelevant. To give Jeff and Mary, as owners, a wonderful time. I reckon Huey Bowman rode Royal Descent, and I might be wrong here, Mark.
Turn it up.
He took off early on Royal Descent, trying to put it in the race, and she got tired for the simple fact because the stewards questioned and had an inquiry into Blake Shin the week before on Zambar. I reckon Royal Descent would have been better off sitting quieter, and then having the last shot rather than trying to chase so far out, then getting tired.
Bowled it in. So 15 wins from 33 starts. That's an amazing record.
3 consecutive wins in the Millie Fox Stakes. And if this rain hangs around, she's not just a wet tracker, but if it hangs around, she'll win everything in the autumn.
Yeah, I don't know if she can win everything because she's won too much already. So as far as the big handicaps are concerned, the Coolmore and the Doncaster Mile, she's not a big mare, but she may have her work cut out. She's good. Don't know whether she's that good, but you can never deny her will to win. Look at her here. She's absolutely coasting. She comes home in 34 on a slow to heavy track, so she just gives them no hope. A Time for Julia was very good. She's second up here. She was competitive and looks a mare with good quality. Lucky Largo, I thought, was a very good run first up, and believe me, it wasn't the flashing light run from Royal Descent, but it was very good when you analyse how this race was run. She's a live chance in the Coolmore Classic, Royal Descent.
She had the odds on, didn't she, Red Tracer?
Yeah, for one of the important features, the Silver Slipper Stakes. But Richie, importantly, that is Moss Fun. Unencumbered, $4.80 into $4.20. $4.80 for Law, the Breeders' Plate winner. And Risen from Doubt for Tony McAvoy. $5.50 now into $4.80.
Set to go for the Silver Slipper, and they're off now. Modoc missed the start. Moss Fun came out fast on the outside. She's got a head in front. Law's starting to burn up underneath it, though. And Law went to the lead now from Moss Fun and Press Report, followed by Unencumbered. And Risen from Doubts going around the outside of it, followed by Hampton Court and Modoc last of all. Reaching the first bend, and Law's about a half a length in front of Moss Fun. Press Report next, followed by Risen from Doubt. It's improved on the outside into 4 spot. Unencumbered back behind them. And then Hampton Court on the rail, and last of all is Modoc. They're preparing to swing. About 500 to go, and Law's just in front of Moss Fun on the outside, and then came the other filly, Press Report, followed by Risen from Doubt. Unencumbered. Berry's about to pop the question to it, and further back behind them, Hampton Court and Modoc. Moss Fun coming out after Law in the early part of the straight. Law's just the leader, but now Moss Fun, given full rein, has put her head in front, and she sprinted. Unencumbered coming down the outside, but Moss Fun's raced away. 100 metres to go. It's all Moss Fun. She'll remain undefeated and really stamp herself as a good filly. Comes down to beat Press Report. Risen from Doubt third, followed by Law. They both stumbled near the post, and then came Unencumbered, Modoc and Hampton Court.
Wow. Wow. Is she going to be up to the Golden Slipper? After that, you'd be a brave man to say she's not. 3 from 3, this filly by Mossman. James McDonald for the Hawk Stable was the best back runner. She was the market mover. 3.30 to 2.90. $6 bet on Wednesday afternoon. And she has put a big gap in them. Lee Curtis, hats off to Lee Curtis. He gave a rap all week to Press Report. It started 5th. That smile again. That was a big grin.
Yeah, she's impressive. She's just professional, and that's...
Risen from Doubt.
Good in the dry. If it comes up wet slipper day, she's going to be one of the horses to beat. She put away a terrific field there. Press Report running out of its skin, and Risen from Doubt a pass mark. That was impressive, Rich. You've got to look at that at face value, and handled them with ease.
It was a huge go. When the price first went up Wednesday afternoon, the Unencumbered come. When the rain come, it looked like it was going to be damp, but Thursday afternoon, then Friday, and then yesterday, it was just a plunge right from the start, Moss Fun, and wow, ultra impressive. She's undefeated now. You know, it's the first race she won, everyone said, oh, it was the English Nursery.
Seemed to dip in the ground up the straight. Risen from Doubt particularly looked to be floundering, but 2 weeks ago and said Moss Fun mightn't be up to the top level, but I might have to eat my words there. That was outstanding yesterday.
Sure was. Let's see.
Certainly getting very interesting. Moss Fun, she made it 3 out of 3. That was a pretty hot 2-year-old race, and she really stood up, Ron.
Well, she had a Magic Millions winner there. You had the big rap on Risen from Doubt, who had all the form around him. We had the Unbeaten Law, who was a Breeders' Plate winner. So it was, although a small field, it was a select field. And this filly, wow, she just coasted with her race sense, which we've pointed out in the past, her ability to jump and relax and conserve energy. Probably a little flattering being by Mossman. They're renowned, very good wet trackers, but she's done it on wet and dry now. And if we do get a wet Golden Slipper, she's right in contention. And who's to say that she's not right in contention if we get a dry track? This was clearly a dominant display. This little Press Report, there was she may have been 50 to 1, but I think that run was expected by her connections. Risen from Doubt is a boom horse. He hadn't raced since October. He paraded sweaty and hot and just not perfect. So there's only upside with him. I think Law's in a bit of trouble.
Big one. Earthquake's still favourite, but Moss Fun has trimmed right up to $8. Fillies have won 10 of the last 15 Silver Slipper races, but no filly has ever won the Silver Slipper, Golden Slipper double. So that's one that she's out to break, Moss Fun.
The running of one of the features of the day, the Hobartville Stakes for the 3-year-olds. It is a Group 2, and if you missed it earlier, El Rocker has been scratched by the stewards after having a medication yesterday, a treatment that was banned within that time before the race. Favourites, equal favourites, $4.20 Dissident, and also number 9 Woodbine, also at $4.20.
Now, and Corabiti went straight out the back. Dissident began well. Woodbine was showing early speed, and Romantic Touch is now driving through to take up the running. And it's Romantic Touch landing in front of the 1200 from Dissident Atlante, going up near the inside, followed by Hooked, and they've got Woodbine parked out wide, so they'll have to drag back. Inside at the tail of the field, Romantic Touch is on top. Dissident in second spot, and there are a couple of lengths on Atlante. He's still being hard ridden. He doesn't look to be travelling through the ground all that well at the moment. He's trying to pick up. Then Hooked on the outside of him, followed followed by Savvy Nature. Woodbine still being ridden quietly, followed by Swiggin, and Corabiti's gone back to last. Into the straight, Romantic Touch in front of Dissident on the outside. Then Atlante, followed by Hook coming down the outside. Then Savvy Nature as they draw down now with about 200 to go. Romantic Touch, Dissident. Atlante now starting to pick up the bit. Swiggin getting through. And then Savvy Nature. Woodbine right down the outside. It's Dissident in the centre. And Atlante. Dissident and Atlante. They're coming down to the line in the Hobart Bill. Dissident did best and beat Atlante. Savvy Nature looks to have got third in front of Woodbine, followed by Swiggin, and then Romantic Touch, followed by Hooked, and Corabiti has finished at the back of the field.
Oh, he's a freak. He continues to amaze Jimmy Cassidy. I don't think any of us thought Dissident to be up running second outside the leader. He made him begin. He made him be a racehorse. And he proved too good today. That's his second win from his 10 starts. Number one, 1, 3, 4 and 9, $4 and $1.50. On track, $4.40 into $4.
Won its first start in his career, and 9 starts later wins its second, but it's running every good dance along the way. Dissident, and Jimmy Cassidy summed it up, made the horse. Think about it. Atlanta, extraordinary run. It was going at the 700, was going worse at the 600, and then finds a line, not handling the ground. But Rich, I think the nous of Jimmy got this horse back into the winner's stall yesterday.
Well, he made him be a racehorse, as you rightly pointed out there, Bruce. He spoke to Peter Moody yesterday morning and Claire Cunningham and said, I'm going to make him be a fair dinkum horse. He got him out of the gates, made him race. The unlucky runner has to be Savvy Nature. I was a pot on the horse, thought maybe he hasn't. No, he's
the way out, but he got the job done. Atlante, well, he was very worked up in the parade before the race and then didn't travel through the ground. Maybe the blinkers back on him will suit him, but I thought he was certainly the horse to follow out.
He finally claimed a big one there yesterday.
He did. He's always been a horse with enormous talent. He needed another win. He got another win. And I really like the way this horse has come up. He's a big, strong horse now. He's holding good condition. He's really healthy in the coat. He looks like he's going to run a mile and 2,000 metres. And look, he's right there. He's one of the big chances in the Randwick Guineas and also the Rosehill Guineas. This Kiwi Atlante, he lost the plot when he hit the heaviest part of the track between the 700 and the 500. He looked a beaten horse. I love the way he picked himself back up. Maybe this is the first time he's raced without blinkers. You could make a little case to say that maybe those blinkers should be going back on him, but I really like him. Savvy Nature was good first up. Woodbine, okay, but first and second across the line there, they're right up there with the best of them.
9 starts without a run,
And the Group 1 New Zealand Derby was run across the ditch at Ellerslie. Hearts were in mouths as Michael Walker circled the field mid-race on favourite Puccini. He had plenty left in the kick as they rounded the turn.
Rising Romance is getting going out wide. Puccini and Michael Walker were clear. Rising Romance storming home, but they're not going to get the comp. Puccini's got the derby. All pass on up. Thanks for coming, Puccini. Brilliant in the end. Rising Romance going in second. Giving us third, fourth. As they get across
New Zealand Derby, Puccini, Michael Walker on board for Peter Mackay. Looks like he'll be heading to Sydney for the Carnival Ron. Probably deserves respect too.
Well, why not? You know, look, it was a very brave decision from Michael Walker to take off, you know, a long way from home here. I can see.
About the 1,100 metre mark, I think.
He was pulling his head off. I think he was supposed to be on the speed anyway. And
well, it was so predictable that they probably thought, oh, we're not going to do that. We're going to get carved up here.
But it still takes a bit of guts. Well, you know, if he gets beat, he's the worst person in the world doing something like this. But he had confidence in his horse. He moved at the right time when the pace really slowed, but he went on with the job. You know, I can't wait to see him in Sydney. He's a half brother to I'd say a champion in Sir Slick and multiple Group 1s, and he's buying Costa de Lago, and I think he'll add interest into our carnival for sure.
By here, I think. Is this where has he already got to the front here? I'm just struggling to pick up the colours. Yeah, he's just sitting outside the leader. He takes off on the top of the corner here. And he is, you know, you have to be good to do what he did, make a mid-race move, settle again, then take off again. You have to be superior to the others. I'm not sure what it says about the ones behind him. There was some awful interference.
In the straightening, maybe
there was some awful interference. And maybe the second horse did cop a little bit of that, because you watch here on the corner that
I think he maybe caused it.
No, I think that...
it was outside.
It got bumped out wide and put it off stride for a while. It would have finished closer. I don't think it would have won, you watch it get to the line, the second horse here, it went okay too. So maybe those two will be competitive here in Australia. But all honours with that winner there. To do what he did, you just have to be a superior horse.
Richard, you talk of the runner-up there, Rising Romance. Donna Logan knows what's required when, they come to a carnival like Sydney, and she's certainly on the way. She'll run in the Vinery on April 5. And then it's a question. This year's a bit...
Let's look back over the Maribyrnong towards the city as we get ready for the Group 1 Australian Guineas. Great field with the Cox Plate winner to head them off here in Seamus Award. Eurozone for the James and Bark Cummings combination. Huckleback from South Australia for Phil Stokes. And then a very strong supporting cast trying to take out this time-honoured Group 1 handy. Jobs. Okay, number 1.
Has stall 7 in the 14-horse field. And Hucklebuck jumps evenly from a middle barrier stall. Tiranado settles towards the end of the field. Eurozone and Surge ahead the first couple to bounce out of the gates. Seamus the Waters up there with Prince Harada as they settle into stride, and they're followed by Artie Shaw. But as they settle fully now and going to the front is the Cox Plate winner. Seamus Award takes it up by a length. Eurozone is second from Surge ahead and Prince Harada. They're followed then in the field by Artie Shaw. On the outside is Late Charge trapped out, and behind them on the inside rail then came Bardham. They were followed 2 lengths further back to Criterion, Thunder Fantasy, Rock Hero buried away midfield the inside of the orange colours, and one behind him is Hucklebuck, being followed by the quarterback and Tiranado, and Alphabeta's last of all. So Seamus Award leads, 800 left to go. He's 3/4 clear. Eurozone second, a length and a half to Surge ahead. Prince Harada fourth, 2 in front of Bardham as they sweep down to the turn, and then Artie Shaw. Late Charge has been wide. They're followed by Rock Hero, well back still along the inside as they come around the turn, and then Criterion, Thunder Fantasy. Well back in the field is the quarterback as they swing around the turn, and Hucklebuck's amongst the end. He's trying to barge out. Tiranado keeps him in a pocket, but now he's clear. But is he too far back? 350 to go. Seamus Award by a length to Eurozone, and they've got away there. 3 in front of Prince Harada, trying his heart out down the outside. A long way back as Hucklebuck still. Seamus Award below the 200. Williams pulls the whip. He holds Eurozone at bay. Prince Harada, Criterion, they're coming now down the outside. Seamus Award in front of Criterion and Thunder Fantasy. Seamus Award all the way. He wins it from Criterion by a length. The Fantasy might get up to third ahead of Eurozone, and close up between horses there was Surge ahead. Tiranado finished well out wider, followed by Hucklebuck, just gave them too big a jump there. Next to finish in the race was Late Charge, who stayed on okay, and they're followed then by behind those to finish is Rock Hero and Bardham, and well back in the field is Artie Shaw and also Alphabet and the quarterback.
Best horse wins. Brilliant ride by Craig Williams. He did a little bit of work early and then controlled it. What a tough 3-year-old he is. It's great to see the Cox Plate winner come back and now win the Guineas. The good news is he'll be racing through his 3-year-old year into his 4-year-old year. Australian racing needs a star like him, and all honest to him, there's a heap of good runs. Hucklebuck got it all wrong, got too far back, too much traffic. The big plonk win Australia there, you and your team.
Yeah, it is. Look, it was a very important race, and I've sort of said that for the last 2 months. We really wanted to come and win this. You know, he's done what very few 3-year-olds have done winning Cox Plate, but to back it up with the Guineas, it puts him in very rare air. He's a magnificent individual. His father, Snitzel's about to be champion stallion, and when he wins races like this, we're going to make sure he gets every chance to hopefully emulate Snitzel one day himself.
And the great thing too is what
just to Sydney, and that'd be the Rosehill Guineas and the Queen Elizabeth. So we're really pleased we've got this on the board, and now we've got plenty more options to come. And he's just a gorgeous animal. I'm very, very happy to have him.
From mistresses, but good to have this one in your camp.
Yeah, look, it's the first horse I had for both of them, and it's a pretty good one to get.
Danny, well done.
Thanks, guys.
Sean Buckley and Viv Oldfield, the owners of Seamus Award, trained by Danny O'Brien, take out the. Well, what a thrill!
No, it's fantastic. They've done a great job. Not just Mr. Buckley. Viv Oldfield's been a great friend and supported me when I was a kid, claiming 3 when I rode for Pat Carey. And it's got a long way out. Anyway, he did a really good job today.
Love to see him next week in the Australian.
First horse to win the Cox Plate / Australian Guineas double, and the Australian Cup now awaits for him, son of Snitzel. And he sets himself up for a great racing future, no doubt, but also a brilliant breeding option for him. I'll worry about the remainder later, but Craig got through the first 1,061.5. But that's him, Dan, isn't it? That's his great asset is his ability to race for himself.
Yeah, no, Craig sort of said that he's never been on a horse that can maintain the sectionals that he can. He does it in track work and in a race. He can put down just sectional after sectional each furlong at a good solid tempo and still be finding on the line.
It's a weight for age run style, isn't it, really? You think back to, so you think when he was really firing along, it was get out in front and cruise along and then kick. And it's a serious weapon when you go back up to that level.
Yeah, exactly. The Wait for Age, if you can put yourself there and just use your own tactical speed, you can control those races, and you're always very hard to run down.
Validation for the horse too, in your eyes, that coming off a maiden win in a Cox Plate, and a few people may have questioned it or raised an eyebrow. How important was it yesterday to get that other Group 1 win?
No, it was very important. You know, we'd been around the mark in the Caulfield Guineas, but to turn up and actually win the Australian Guineas, it sits really well on his resume.
Of course, it was no shock, I suppose, because his two-year-old form, he was up early in the season, wasn't he, as a two-year-old, and ran in the right two-year-old races?
Yeah, look, he was always a very good performer early. He ran in one of the first two-year-old races, ran third down the Straight Cup week. He ran fifth in the Blue Diamond, second in the size, but we were always waiting to get him out to the mile and the 2000. Now he's in that sort of zone. He's really, really suited.
Here's a steward of vision here, and Eurozone pulled up allegedly mildly lame, although James Cummings on his blog this morning was a bit disappointed in that finding. How'd your bloke pull up though?
Pulled up super. No, he was he'd got home.
Go Thunder Fantasy to be confirmed, but Fioronte at even money. Seamus Wood 460, Fortella at 750, and we know what might not be running there. So Hucklebuck won't be there. Chase a Rainbow.
He's won 2 races from 12 starts, both fairly significant ones though, a Cox Plate and now an Australian Guineas. And Craig Williams was the jockey, and he's joining us on the line on Racing Retro. Good morning, Craig.
Morning. Seems a much better horse when he finds the rail. Would I be right in saying that?
That's right. I think first up, in fairness to him, it didn't look good for a Group 1 horse when he was challenged by Eurozone late. He hit on the side, hard to get away from moment of changes. He was, to be fair to him, he was really, Johnny, we thought that he was at a stage where he could go out there riding aggressively and to win first up the Group 1 Wait for Age race at 1400. As it turned out, by the way the track played and the way moment of change was ridden, I was really out of my comfort zone a long way out. So to be fair to him, he really did. He was under pressure, and that could be an easy excuse to see why he was leaning across the heel for Stadium as a mistake, because he can run an unbelievable 600, where most horses can accelerate fast but hold a 200 or 400 metre gallop. He is actually quite solid, so I was quite confident. He's also trained at Flemington on the wall when he ran in the Bill Sutton Mooney Valley. When we talk about reverse sectionals, he's run that night to still fight out the finish, and then of course he's run in the Guineas after that. He's had a hard run first up, and he just seems to really thrive on it. He actually gets better with hard work or hard racing. So I hope that's
Other star 3-year-olds, Hucklebuck, Eurozone, what happened to them?
I don't think Hucklebuck runs a mile. I think he's better off freshened up at 1400, 1200.
He also pulled up with a mucus in his nose, so it might have been
maybe a little bit
100%.
forgiving there as well. Eurozone's, I think he's set himself up for a big run in the Randwick Guineas. He's only second up here.
He pulled up mildly lame.
Okay, so we'll monitor that situation. Look, I think Criterion could be a Derby horse in Sydney. I really like Thunder Fantasy. He reminds me of 5.5 star. He's stablemate, won the Australian Cup, won an Australian Cup, and look, he could be a knockout chance as well. I think he sticks on pretty well, and he's underrated, Thunder Fantasy. But all in all, the winner was far too good. And I like, even though he's only won 2 from 12, look at him here. He does have a winning desire about him. He wants to win, and he's really in the zone now. And he's certainly a force to be reckoned with in anything he contests.
I agree with you, and I think it's tantamount to that you've got to look at the form lines they came through. He came through the Wait for Age form line, and I think that's still a lot stronger than coming through against your own age and sex. So I think he'd proved himself, and I don't think it would be any surprise that he cleaned up the 3-year-olds who are coming through the 3-year-old company. He's a special colt. You can't do it with horses that aren't special.
Still coming, but yeah.
460, Fortella 750, and we know what might not be running there. So Hucklebuck won't be there. Chase a Rainbow.
He's won 2 races from 12 starts, both
the Wait for Age form line, and I think that's still a lot stronger than coming through against your own age and sex. So I think he'd proved himself, and I don't think it would be any surprise that he cleaned up the 3-year-olds who are coming through the 3-year-old company. He's a special colt. You can't do it with horses that aren't special.
Still coming, but